Oh, hold on. Can you do that? You have it? Okay, the time is 11:34 a.m. I'd like to call this meeting on the Committee on Budget and Finance to order. Board Secretary, will you please take roll?
Trustee Ahuna,
Present.
Trustee Akaka, Trustee Akina,
Aloha mai kako.
Trustee Galataria,
Here.
Trustee Kahele, Trustee Lindsay, Trustee Souza, Vice Chair Waihe'e,
Present.
Chair Alapa.
Present.
You have 8 members present.
Mahalo. This meeting is being conducted in compliance with HRS Chapter 92, Sunshine Law, and the OHA bylaws. It is viewable via live stream at www.oha.org/livestream and available for in-person attendance at the Maui Ola Boardroom in Honolulu. Pursuant to the Article 12 of our bylaws and Robert's Rules of Order for small boards, Section 49:21, we will observe the following procedures. Number 1, trustees may speak and make motions without needing recognition. Number 2, motions do not require a second. Number 3, the chair may participate fully in debate and vote on all matters. Number 4, informal discussion is permitted while no motion is pending. Please observe order and decorum per Article 17 of the bylaws. At this time, we're moving on to item number 2, approval of our minutes. There are no minutes for approval at this time. Is there any public testimony on this item? Okay, seeing there's none, we will move on to the next item for old business. There is no old business before the committee today. And is there any public testimony? No, there is none. So at this time, we will move on to the next item. And this is on to our yes. Okay, thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to introduce our CEO, Stacey Ferreira, along with some of her administrative staff. Stacey, would you like to take it from here?
Mahalo, Chair, Vice Chair, Trustees. Joining us in person, we have our Chief Operating Officer, Kehau Pu'u, Investment Director and Interim CFO, Ryan Lee, Financial Analyst, Grace Chen, Senior Director of Hawaiian Cultural Affairs, Hailamo Farden, Interim Director of Land Assets, Lori Walker, Commercial Property Agent, Leanne Gentry, Director of Community Engagement, Lisa Von Secona, Grants Manager, Chantel Belay, Director of Communications, Bill Brennan, Senior IT Systems Engineer and Administrator, Kevin Chalk, and IT Systems Engineer and Administrator, Daniel Santos. Mahalo.
Thank you very much, Kapuana. At this time, we would like to move on to our section, our new business, number 4 for new business. At this time, I'd like to we will now proceed for each action item. We will receive public testimony followed by trustee discussion and a vote. At this time, I'd like to call upon Grace Chen and Ryan Lee as we open up action item BF 25-52, OHA Biennium Budget for the fiscal biennium periods of 23 through 24 FY24 and 2024 through 2025 FY25. Realignment. Number 4, approval of core and non-core budget realignments.
Madam Chair, do you want me to make the motion?
Yes.
Okay. Madam Chair, I'd like to move to approve the fiscal biennium. I'd like to move to approve the fiscal biennium budget realignment number 4, core and non-core budget for fiscal biennium periods 2023 to 2024 and 2024 to 2025 as summarized in attachment number 1, as well as the carryover of $1,103,000 in unspent, uncommitted, unencumbered funds from BOT 2307 Maui Island wildfire for Maui wildfire recovery efforts. These funds will be used for OHA's deployment of Kanaaho grants for Lahaina and Kula, including direct distribution of disaster aid grants to beneficiaries.
Mahalo. Do we have any discussion at this point? Okay, thank you very much. At this time, we'd like to have Grace Chin and Ryan Lee proceed.
Aloha, Chair Lapa and fellow trustees. Today, admin is presenting action item BF 25-52, requesting approval of the fourth and final budget realignment for the fiscal year 24-25 biennium. Budget realignments are a regular part of the year-end financial management and are essential to ensure OHA's financial records are accurately reflect actual expenditures. These routine adjustments help close out the fiscal year in alignment with audit requirements, ensuring our books are complete, accurate, and compliant. I'm going to hand it off to Grace to review the key elements of the realignment.
Mahalo. Brian said, as the biennium budget is prepared and authorized only once every 2 years, it may be necessary to update and make adjustments to the budget for various changes that may have occurred since the budget was passed. Budget Realignment number 3 was presented and approved by the board on February 6th. Today, we're asking the board to approve Budget Realignment number 4, and in line with our closing our books on June 30th, to close our fiscal 2025, which was on June 30th. As you look at in the action items, Fiscal is updating the main tables. Table 1, the spending limit, and Table 2, the total operating budget, to accurately incorporate grants recently awarded from February 6th to June 30th, and use this time to update those tables. The next table, Table 3, shows the core operating budgets, and this table provides updates to the adjustments made since February 6th and through to June 30th of the budget in the core operating adjustments in the core operating budget. The other tables beginning, the next section talks about just skipping over to Table 6, which starts with the commercial property, are budget realignments necessary to reconcile the commercial budgets at the end of the fiscal year. I'll pause here for any questions.
Trustees, any questions at this time for Grace? Let's proceed.
Yeah.
Trustee Galutario.
Grace, this is basically Kanaaho Makai.
We have the 4 properties that require realignment. All 4 of them, Kakamakai, Nanamakakui,
Yeah.
the 500 North Nimitz, and 501 Sumner.
I see.
We also have here Lori Walker and Leanne Gentry, who can also provide, answer questions if there are.
Okay, thank you. Well,
Oh, okay. For one, the budgets that were set at 2 years ago and have been updated through February 6th may not be sufficient to cover all the expenses that have shown since February 6th to now. For one, I'll turn it over on Sumner.
Sumner Street?
Sumner,
Okay.
yes. Just to bring your attention on what happened in Sumner.
Well, these are expenses that were not budgeted. So the reconciling is meant to cover those expenses that are not budgeted. So with Sumner, there was additional principal repayment back to the loan to satisfy a loan covenant for the property. So that adjustment needs to be made within our own books.
I'll just pause here. Any
Um,
further questions?
It's Trustee.
Yeah.
Bill, Kai, go ahead.
Would you mind just starting with table 1
Yes,
rather than jumping?
sure, of
Well, let's
course.
just start with table 1 in the core
Yes.
and what you're trying to realign there, and then we'll go to table 2, table 3.
Okay. Table 1 is the spending limit, is on page 4. So looking at column C is where we ended on budget realignment number 3. This is the table of the spending limit, which is the amount that we can budget up to for the fiscal 25. And In this realignment, we're realigning fiscal 25. So no changes to the fiscal 24. So looking at column C, you'll see that the changes from column C to column D is the increase of 1.8 million in the core operating budget. It's in the first section. In the first section under core operating budget, the subtotal of the core operating budget increased from 49.58 million to 51.4, and the result of the increase of 1.8 in carryovers that were approved in various grants over this period.
Then if you flip the next page,
Yes.
that 1.835148 is the combination of these two footnotes.
Correct. Yes.
The 140,000, that was that discussion that we had about a month ago, right? Where trustees, we moved that
Maui.
resource over to Pony's, Juliana, right? To execute the Maui grant program. And then can you speak to the Ole Ke Kanaka
Yes.
emotional health grant?
Right, I have it in my notes, is regarding an action item that was approved on October 23rd, 2024, RM 2452. And within that action item, it was approved specifically. I have the action item in front of me. Let me just flip to it. That in the budget authorization table, section 5, it was to use the to look at the grants budget carryover summary, and that specific parts of that grant was to be funded using the carryover. Oh, and Kayal is here as well to speak to it, if that's okay.
So just to provide some context, so 2452 was part of the fiscal year 24 open grant solicitation that had come before the board in May 2024. And then the grants manager at the time, Keala Newman, went back. I think that this board had expressed desire to fund additional organizations. And so what came back was the decrease of funding, requested funding to all of these organizations that had been recommended for award. And so that was what had been approved initially. So back in, I believe, September and October, we came back to this board to, one, approve the remaining grants that had not been, that had not come before the board for reapproval. And then in October, we had come before the board to restore the initial funding requests that were made by all of these organizations. And then in addition to that, we awarded additional organizations who had scored, I believe we said 90% or higher. And so it was just a small handful of organizations that had been awarded in that last round, or in that last budget action item BF 2452. So just to share that info.
Those are both health grants and economic stability grants?
Yes.
Okay.
So like the recent KCDC one that we're going to be providing an update on tomorrow came out of that last action item. And these are the grants that, although awarded, right, given the limited capacity of our grants team, because we only had a few officers, it's taken this long to start to execute on those grants. So that was the goal of our team. They finally were able to finish all the contracts and execute, I think, up until last month.
Okay.
Mahalo, Kehal. Oh, your mic.
I can continue with the table 1 on section 2, the commercial property. The Changes in the revised figures in column D reflects one, an update in the revenue. So, now that we have more accurate figures to provide those revenues as of June 30th. Number one. Number two is also, right, we'll leave it at that. So that's the commercial property. Any questions there? On section 4, there's no changes in the legacy property. Yes.
Yes, go ahead, trustee Galatario.
I know that it's footnoted about the debt service on Sumner. The net increase of 1.4 seems excessive, but I need a little bit more explanation.
Sure, I can explain it. Basically, there's a loan covenant that's tied to the property with the bank. And given that the property has not been leased out, there's a shortage or shortfall in net operating income over the loan outstanding balance. So what's required to maintain that loan is to pay down certain principal. So this is principal that we're adding, paying down with just equity to the property. So it's not a fine or penalty, but it's to bring down the outstanding loan balance to meet the debt covenant. Right. So basically, we didn't have a tenant in there for the last couple of months. It didn't meet a debt yield test. To satisfy that test, we need to pay down principal to be in compliance. Right. So these funds are not coming from the core operating expenses, but from existing cash flow from the other commercial properties.
Yeah, I just, Ryan, can you please explain to the board also that there was an increase in that debt covenant requirement? So there was a change from the previous year, because I think that makes a difference.
Yes, what Stacy is mentioning is that typically within a loan, first couple of years, there's a different level of ratio that you need to meet. The end of last year, which I think hits the 3-year, that ratio increased, right? So it's standard language within loan documents, but it's one that, as mentioned, the not having sufficient net operating income did not meet that increased test, right? I believe Lori folks can comment about plans on getting that property leased out such that we can meet that requirements going forward.
One follow-up. Who controls the ratios?
Typically, when you have a loan, right, those ratios are set by the bank, right? It is to test that you have sufficient cash flows to meet the to pay back the bank, right? So typically it's set by the bank, and it's negotiated upfront between the borrower and the bank.
And we can move in the middle of everything?
The set ratios don't move. I think what moves is when we measure the financial performance of the property, right? To test whether the property itself is performing in line with expectations, right? So this test helps the bank such that if there's insufficient net operating income, they can get ahead of it. We can address it accordingly.
Well,
Correct.
And I just want to make note that, because we have to meet that threshold for the loan, doing the pay down is also a benefit to all, just because it becomes now equity, right? So it's not, it's money that's kind of recirculated, within our own portfolio. It's still, yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Okay, I'll continue on.
Mhm.
There are no changes in the next funding source, legacy properties. The next one we're looking at is the federal funded. In there we have HLID, which had the Department of Transportation. We're looking under section 4, first line, first row, that says Halavai Luluku Interpretive Development, which stands for, which in short is HLID. So there was an increase in the budget over that I was notified prior to this realignment, and just to reflect it. And that was in personnel. So these are the changes in the spending limit. In total, realignment number 3 was 65 million in spending limit for the total operating budget. In realignment number 4, we're revising the figure to 67.6 million. Continuing on to table 2. While the first table shows the spending limit, table 2 shows the total operating budget proposed for realignment number 4. In it, you'll see, again, in section 1, to corresponding what we saw in the spending limit, the core operating budget, that the change in 1.8, increase in 1.8 is in the non-personnel item. The section 2, the commercial properties, the changes in this section reflects the budget adjustments requested for this time for each of the property, and then it's also detailed in the subtable, in the tables following. Yes, so we're looking at column D, at column C, comparing to column D, and the changes in column E. There are no changes in the legacy, and as mentioned earlier, then under the last funding source, the federal funded, an increase of $10,300. Okay, continuing on, the next table, table 3, presents the figures by category for the core operating budget. What I include in the footnotes are adjustments that has been made since the last realignment of that occurred in February 6th, and those, including those adjustments to June 30th. Again, bring it up to date so to reflect the final budgets. As you can see here, the grants 1.8, that 1 point is appearing grants, and there were also adjustments in categories. Were there surplus, there are repurposed into those that needed additional funding.
I think it's important to note that when we talk about reconciling the budget, that it's not necessarily just increases that we are coming for board approval, but also decreases that are reflected in the footnotes as well.
Any questions on this table? The next section, before we go on, I actually have as inserts, and we'll go back to this after we finish these tables, if that's okay. Because in these inserts, I provided updates to the next approval, which is the Kanaaho disaster in section B, and in section C, again, I provided this time the budget carryover update. So it's okay, we'll go back to it after we look at the other tables. Continuing on to page 10, which starts the Kakamakai. Again, these are the adjustments necessary that is needed to bring the budget up to date. As you can see in Kakamakai, that the last change to the fiscal 25 budget was actually in 2410. So it was not in February, but prior than that. So we're now updating it more than just 6 months. And the explanations are provided in the footnotes. No questions, I'll continue to Nalama Kukui. While it was adjusted in the last realignment, we're again readjusting, and this is again to it's good news. You know, the increase is for the property management security, in that we're able to lease out the property and therefore pay more commission, and then therefore requesting for the increase. Where we can repurpose the unused funds, where as you can see, there's a minus 116,000. Where we anticipate there's surplus, we're trying to repurpose that before requesting for an increase. The next table, table 8 on page 12. presents the figures for 500 North limits. Again, in addition to present an updated projected revenue, to also close out the fiscal year with these adjustments. The last of the commercial commercial property table, table 9, aside from the 1.9, are there any questions? 1.4, are there any other questions? Okay, just so that we finish looking at the difference realignment, the next table, table 10, presents the adjustments needed for HLID. Again, there has been adjustments between February 6th and June 30th. I'm presenting all this time in addition to the increase of the budget. One last item, the Papahanum Kea on page 11. This was proposed to reallocate the 77,000 in travel to 21,400. A request at that time requested by the program manager in order to enter some of those purchase requisitions at the end of the year. Any questions on these? Okay. So these are the tables by approving Part A of the proposed action. Part B talks about the 1.1 and unspent, uncommitted, unencumbered funds relating to the Maui Island wildfire. And I present the table, present the figures, what was available in table 4 on page 8. And if there are any questions, page 8. Page 8, table 4 on page 8 recaps that when the Maui Island wildfire occurred, that the BOT shortly approved BOT 2307 to award $5 million. At the end of June, since that event occurred in 2023, as of June 30th, 2024, 943,000 were processed. Between July 1st and June 30th of 2025, an additional 2.9 million were processed. So total processed to date is nearly 3.9 million, showing that there's 1.1 million available. And we still have, my understanding, that because they were carried over to fiscal year 2025, we're requesting that 1.1 million to be carried forward to fiscal 26 for continued processing. Any questions?
Ed, trustee.
So that makes sense. Can you speak to the details and maybe, chair that represents Maui can talk more about the unspent balance, some of the timelines along July 31st, and I think it's August 31st, and then a possible Kanaaho 2.0 and how that's going to work?
I have Pony here that can kind of give a recap and talk about the next stage if it's okay.
Sure.
Yes, please, that would be nice. Go ahead, trustee Lindsay, you had a question or?
Chair, I did have a discussion with staff about that leftover money. And they made a recommendation that I think is a good solution to it. So I'll have Pony explain it.
Before Pony jumps on, I just wanted to reshare with the board that Kanaaho has actually been extended to next week, Thursday. So that is the absolute deadline for, I call it Kanaaho, 1.0. And that's the $4,000 and $9,000 grants, right, to homeowners or renters. So that is until next week, Thursday. That's the last day. And so we do have some applications that are being processed. So we estimate a little over $200,000 more that will go to grants. And then Pony will speak to the rest.
Mahalo.
So in anticipating the closeout on July 31st, we do expect at least 2 weeks to reconcile those numbers, which will give us a final result. Is that better? Thank you. And so what the suggestion was to trustee, just to kind of backtrack a little bit, we did do a survey in March to all the recipients of Kanaaho. About 24% responded. And just to really share really quickly, some of the responses, that 67% of the respondents were renters. And they expressed the need for housing-related financial assistance, which is kind of an obvious statement. 57% cited that they had a need for everyday living expenses. 39% long-term housing affordability and stability, and then 48% of kupuna-related expenses, things like ADA and home adjustments. Because they had to take in kupuna and their homes weren't equipped for that. And then the other part was emotional and mental well-being challenges. And so instead of creating new programs for the second tranche of funds, the recommendation that Trustee Lindsay is on board with is that we just do a second round to the recipients of Kanaaho 1.0. And the split of the remaining amount will be similar to, sort of like a 2-to-1 ratio. So the renters will get about 50% of what a homeowner would get. So homeowners had received 9,000, renters got 4,000. We'll do the same split and provide that update to you folks once we get that final reconciled number.
You might give them an idea of what that number is, like you gave me.
Sure, yeah. So as of the moment that trustee had approved it, we were looking at approximately 2,900 for homeowners and around 1,400 for renters, but that really does depend on the final amount with the 1.1 million divided by how many are renters and how many are homeowners. So I look forward to getting that final number so we can really have a true assessment of what we can disperse to homeowners and renters. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Pony. Sorry, Trustee Ahuna, I didn't see you. Go ahead, Trustee.
No, thank you, Chair. No, I was just wondering, because we don't know how, we have $1 million left, and could it be opened up to the whole entire state of Hawaii? Because, the only reason why I'm saying this is because I think those funds where those funds monies came from was emergency money, and oh no, where did that money come from? The 5 million. So I just maybe try open them up to the entire state this next time, or is that a possibility?
Go ahead, Kapuhana.
Mahalo, Trustee Ahuna, for that question. So my understanding was that, the board approved this specifically for the Maui wildfires, and that was a commitment that was publicly made, specifically to Kula and Lahaina residents affected by the fires. In this budget approval for Biennium, there is disaster aid that was set aside, and our administration has already been working to quickly put together an AI so that we can bring it in front of the board to start dispersing the Biennium appropriation for disaster aid that would be statewide and would address what Trustee Ahuna is asking for. So we're looking at how many next. When do you think the AI will be ready for the disaster aid?
Oh, yeah, right next,
So we should have an AI in front of the BF committee regarding disaster aid that has been appropriated in the fiscal year 26 budget.
When can we expect that?
At the next BF committee meeting, and so in 2 weeks.
Mahalo.
Yeah, no, so I was just talking about how we realigning the money. So I that's what I just thought we could open it up to everybody, but in the same, Maui can still do it, but open it up to everybody. The second round.
Trustee Souza.
No, I think to Trustee Ahona's point, yeah, this amount of $5 million came out of our realignment. I think when we initially talked about it, maybe Trustee Lindsay can help me out on this. I think it was $384,000 left in that fiscal year emergency funds. So I think to his point, where is the money going after the leftover? if there's another 200,000 going out potentially. I see what, Kapuana is saying.
realignment
We
part,
already
yeah.
committed to the $5 million to Maui specifically. So would it be adding it to our budget that was already approved in the last couple of weeks, or
There's,
as far as, and keeping it in emergency funds is what I'm saying?
there's 1 million left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's gonna
So
stay in the emergency
The
funds.
same people that got the
Right.
issuance at the beginning will
Right.
get the leftover money. The same recipients, they don't have to go through any paperwork. They're just gonna cut a new check for the balance after it's spread out. All the homeowners will get a certain amount and all the renters will get a certain amount, and they'll use the leftover money. I mean, there's no question that the people in Lahaina really need it.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if you noticed, I didn't ask for anything in the budget
Yeah.
because I was grateful to the board for giving Maui the 5 million. So I think that this 5 million should go to the Lahaina people.
Right. Just follow. Trustee Ahuna, are you referring to a certain disaster that happened recently?
No, so, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm talking about the money going to Lahaina. Yeah, I just thought we had money that we're gonna have to realign to something else. I was just saying, since we never spend that money, maybe because the money did come from, I know how we got the 5 million for Lahaina. And the reason why I'm saying this is just because for me, I mean, yeah, I like help Maui, but if they cannot spend them all, maybe we can open them up to everybody. That's all I'm saying.
I think the current ask is for it to stay, right? And then be dispersed against, the original applicants, right? From Maui.
Correct. Yeah.
And if cannot. I'm just trying to say that we can spend this, for all beneficiaries too. But Maui, I think, needs help, but I know we're gonna get extra money. So that realignment, I want to know, like, if it's possible, if we can just change one line that just says to everybody in the state to have that same opportunity.
Mahalo, trustee.
Yeah, hello.
Aye.
Yeah, so just for clarification, the application window is still open till July 31st. And whatever you have that completes an application by July 31st and what you have now, you expect to be about 200,000?
The 200,000 less. So we're probably going to land on 900,000.
That's
If-
what I was so
yeah.
my question is, you're gonna have $900,000 left on the table.
Yeah.
And what you wanna do is go back to all those people that you've already awarded and give them more money.
Yes,
They've already
trustee.
received money.
Yeah, so they'll get a second tranche of the monies that were already committed to them. The proposal also includes the ones that, I should say, we won't have to go through another round of applications or verification process. It's just to deplete it to the existing recipients of Kanaaho 1.0. And it's going to be about 900,000, give or take.
Do you know approximately how many current applicants have received, or what is the amount of homes that?
600, I think, about.
So right now, as of yesterday, the count is 236 homeowners and 448 renters received Kanaaho funds. Yeah, and that makes up the 3.9 million that we've already dispersed.
The point I'd like to make is that the amount that we gave them in the first place was not significant, but was very helpful. And I cannot tell you how appreciative those people were. So if we can help them a little bit more, and this was the money that we appropriated for them, then let's do it.
That was the 9 and the 4.
Yeah.
9 to homes, 4 to renters.
Yes.
Do you think that'll be the same appropriation
No.
or it'll be less?
It'll be less, and based on these.
Much less.
Yeah, based on the.
It would be like 1,500 for the renters and if we're lucky.
Yeah.
And maybe 3,000 for the homeowners that lost their homes.
And more than likely, it'll end up being less because of the increase in the report that we got yesterday in recipients. So it is actually going to decrease.
Much less, yeah.
And how quickly do you think Because
Thank
you
you.
already have that list of
Yeah,
people. It's just a
no,
matter of
thank you.
cutting
That's why I
checks to
came
make-
back, because I didn't finish answering your question, trustee. And so we're thinking that by middle of August, everybody will be reconciled. I'm hoping to start working with comms so that we can get press release drafted up within the next week, so it's queued up and ready to go. ETA for this new round of disbursements to start, we're hoping for September 1. And we'll probably queue it from whoever received it first and then work backwards, right, to the most recent, between September 1st, hoping to finish disbursement by December 31st.
Okay.
And then the other part is that we can probably get that reconciled and come back to you folks for a report update, probably around end of January, early February, where everything landed.
Thank you. Any other questions, trustees? Mahalo, Poni. I do have Grace come back. Go ahead.
Any question on the Kanaaho grants? So having heard, the request is to carry over the 1.1 to fiscal, from fiscal 25 to fiscal 26 to continue processing these payments. Any questions?
Dee Lindsay? Oh,
That sums it up for our request in this action item.
okay, I have a general question from trustee
Thanks.
Kahele.
Just a general question on our budget realignments. Obviously, this is the fourth realignment we're doing, and it's in, it follows, action item 1801 that, describes how we do budget realignments. As a matter of fact, I think, Chair, you were the RM chair back when, you adopted 1801. When I was looking at budget alignment number 3, and one of the things that caught my eye was, the $90,000 that was appropriated to the strategy and implementations data dashboard. And I know 1801 requires a quarterly report of budget adjustments submitted to the Board of Trustees. I know the data dashboard was in our budget, pretty significant amount, well over $250,000 that we put for 26 and 27. Do I have any information on how the $90,000 was spent on the SNI's data dashboard? Just looking back at previous realignments that the admin has asked this board to do, we have done the realignment. We gave SNI $90,000 for data dashboard. Between January and today, what was done for that? That would have justified that request. And maybe it was covered in a quarterly report that has already been submitted, but I'm just asking if anyone knows.
Well, thank you for bringing that up. I'll answer the question and we can also have a follow-up. In terms of the $90,000, where it is at this time, part of my work is to provide the trustees with the quarterly report, and that's actually due July 31st for the period ending June, for the fourth quarter ending June 30th. So at that time, the managers, I will provide an explanation on any surpluses or any surplus as well, and as any any deficiencies in each of the line items. So for now, if it's okay to wait until that report is prepared and released, and to prepare that report, I actually will go back to all the directors and managers to ask for an explanation of where the variances are.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Grace. Is there anything else?
No, just to, if it's okay, to approve the action items. And I summarize the budgets for both years in attachment 1, where you'll see the revised and proposed figures for both the fiscal 24 and the fiscal 25. Mahalo.
Okay, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Okay, so at this time, we'd like to begin with any public testimony. Anyone signed up to testify in person or online may now do so. Testimony is limited to 5 minutes per person and should be limited to the action item of BF 25-52. And I will be providing you with a reminder when you have approximately 30 seconds left. Are there any testifiers?
Not at this time.
All right, mahalo. At this time, I'd like to, trustees, the floor is now open for discussion on this item. If none, we're going to move on to, I'd like to ask Trustee Waihe'e at this time to restate your motion.
The motion was, I moved to approve the fiscal biennium budget realignment number 4, core and non-core budget for the fiscal biennium periods 2023 to 2024 and 2024 to 2025 as summarized in attachment number 1, as well as the carryover of $1,103,000 in unspent, uncommitted, unencumbered funds from the BOT 2307 Maui Island wildfire for Maui wildfire recovery efforts. These funds will be used for OHA's deployment of Kanaaho grants for Lahaina and Kula, including direct distribution of disaster aid grants to beneficiaries.
Mahalo, trustee. Is there any discussion at this time? All right, seeing none, we'd like to proceed with the vote. All those in favor of approving action item 25-52, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? All right, thank you very much. The motion is adopted. At this time,
Provide presentations all at once to expedite the matter between the agenda items B through P of for sponsorship.
mahalo. At this time, I'd like to bring can I have a motion on that vote? That was the motion. We have a vote for that. Any objections, trustees?
Chair, can I bifurcate one of the sponsorships? And then go along with your multiple movement.
Okay.
And that particular sponsorship is the Epic Wahine 2025.
What page?
They're asking $15,000. I have several questions. I wanted to know how many of this group are Hawaiians for this kind of sponsorship. How long have they been in existence? And what are they going to do with the money? They were supposed to be here today, and then they sent a last-minute letter saying they cannot attend in person or virtually. I would think if $15,000 is going to be given to their group, somebody from the group would be happy to attend, or even virtual, because they're from Kona, and they could have attended virtually.
All right, thank you. Thank you, trustee. Oh, okay. Hold on really quick. So we're going to restate the motion to have Kehao present on all of the items from B through P together as a presentation. Yeah.
So just to be clear, the motion was to have Kehao's presentation be compiled together, not to have the votes or to have any discussion, just to have Kehao's presentation done all at once. So the discussion on each item will happen separately, but this just so that Kehao's not up and down every time, she can just present and you guys can take notes.
So does she have to go through all of it?
Yes.
All 19?
Yeah, she's gonna go through all of them.
Okay.
That's why we want to do, that's why the motion was to have them do it all at once.
Set it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So,
Okay, so.
Go ahead.
so you'll
Let-
hear the vote on the motion.
Can we hear the vote on the motion, please? Take a vote.
Do it as, are there any
No.
objections? Yeah.
Are there any objections to this, or the vote? No. Okay, seeing none. Can we have-
Trustee Ahuna,
Wait, are we voting on an amendment or what are we
we're
voting on?
voting on listening to all Ho'akua
Oh,
event sponsorships.
oh, yes, that's what I was waiting for. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
B2P, yeah. Trustee Akaka,
Do we have to vote on this? Isn't this something that is the will of the chair if you wanna just have it?
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
That's why it was a unanimous consent. So yeah, why not? Then no need. Hey, Hal?
No, okay, and I'm just gonna preface with saying I may not have be as well detailed in each and every sponsorship, but I did ask to come before the board first to speak on these 15 sponsorships before we delve in. And it's actually gonna be 14 because we're gonna defer 2561 when we get to that one. I just first wanted to mahalo the board for the $635,000 that was budgeted for Ho'akuakua Lahui sponsorships this fiscal year, combined with our $235,000 for those line item sponsorships. OHA is committing a total of $870,000 towards supporting organizations in their events this year. So what the 14 sponsorships that we're gonna go through cover are those that fall under that 635,000. So these are not line item budgets. These are organizations that have applied and so have met our Ho'akua criteria and are in compliance with HRS 1017 requirements and have undergone evaluation. And so these are the evaluation and basically a competitive process. So these are the 14 sponsorships before you today. I wanted to share that these are sponsorships for Q2. So except for the first four, those were Q1 sponsorships that didn't make it in our June, our last Budget and Finance June meeting because of the changes in the Sunshine Law, so that meeting had to be canceled. So except for the four, the remainder of the sponsorships, the 10 are for Q2. So these are events happening October through December. So in past meetings and presentations, I've shared that we've set earlier deadlines and then we want to bring sponsorships to the board quarterly so that we're not bringing them every month and that there is ample time for, evaluation, approval and ratification and processing. We want to make sure that these organizations are getting their payments on time. And so this takes us through December. So basically our deadline for any events happening October through December was Pau'uahala. Let me see, anything else? So that $635,000 will actually fund the four that didn't make it in fiscal year 25. So it'll fund that, but they're intended to fund events in Q2, 3, 4, as well as Q1. Because again, we want to ensure time to process and evaluate and award and coordinate with the organizations. I do want to share just a couple more things before we go through them. Chantel Belay is our grants manager, and we have already begun the process of transition. So she's taken some part in this round of sponsorships because it'll be her moving forward. And we've already spoken about, I think I've been open about just the opportunities for improvement in this sponsorship process. So she's planning a training for all of the evaluators next month. She's already working on moving our application process into Foundant, which is what is used for our community grants. So using that portal, which will create much more ease of use for our applicants. I also want to mention that this Q2 round of sponsorships, we finally got 2 evaluators. So each of those events have 2, which is good practice when you're doing grant reviews. So that's just to preface the 14 that we're gonna go through. Any questions on that so far? Okay. And then mahalo, I like the idea of trying to streamline this
Trustee
process.
Aquino?
Hal, thanks for the update. And Chair, thank you for acknowledging me. In terms of the evaluators, are these internal or external evaluators?
All internal. So we've grown our pool of evaluators. They include staff, both on the administration and on the BOT side. So I do mahalo them because it is a commitment. It's a time commitment. There's need for calibration when your scores don't quite match up. And so they have engaged in that. And to them, I mahalo you guys, and it's going to get better. Again, we're working on process improvements, and you folks will be brought together to do more training on an evaluation in August.
Mahalo.
I just wanted to make a quick note that it'll be the Board of Trustee aides that will be that second set of evaluators. And I know that previously there was discussion at the table around who is basically the authorized evaluators on the administration side. And it was made, I think, very clear to us that it was at a director level. So I just want to make sure that, that we understand that obviously on the BOT side, they're not going to be at a director level. So I want to make sure that we're good with that.
I want to make sure I'm hearing this correctly. So our BOT aides will be evaluators of sponsorships?
Yes. And those are those who volunteered and are.
I have a concern, like, I don't want this organization, those aides to be, or the applicants to be in conflict. Are we not worried about that?
I think that's a concern for anybody who's evaluating sponsorship. So, we do expect, so first of all, mahalo to my point of contact on the BOT side. The evaluators wanted to make sure that they've all gone through ethics training. And then this is why I'm looking forward to the training they'll be receiving in August to make sure, like, you recuse yourself if there is a conflict of interest. And part of that is a trust thing, but that's a concern for anybody. So I can be honest, I had to jump in on this round and do an evaluation. I had a partner because we had several people who had to recuse themselves from being an evaluator. So again, that's an expectation for any evaluator. I do also want to throw in that we did consult with Everett, and so it's all good. I mean, well, I don't know if he would say something differently, but our staff are they are able. There's no conflict in them being evaluators.
Even though they fall under the work of the trustee?
Yes, I was very specific about who was joining the evaluation team.
Sure.
Yes, Trustee Lindsay.
I would be very uncomfortable if my aides were evaluating, because whatever our aides do reflects on the elected official. So I think that we should pass this through the Ethics Commission and see if they can confirm that it's okay. And then, I wouldn't mind, but I kind of see a conflict of interest. Because if I wanted somebody to get the money, I just tell my aide, hey, make sure that get approved. And that's not good. So if you would pass it through the Ethics Commission, I'm okay with it.
Okay, will do. And I'll check with
Trustee
Everett because
Haley.
he may have already done that. But I'll double check with Everett. He may have done that already when we had the discussion, when I brought to him the idea of adding BOT aides to the evaluator pool.
All right, Trustee Kahele.
Yeah, so just a couple of things, trustees, first for context on this. First of all, it was the board side is on an interim basis only. Part of it is because they were so short-staffed in reviewing Ho'akoa'koa sponsorships. All conflicts of interest training were updated and certified. It was only on a volunteer basis, only if the trustee allowed their staff to participate. And if there was any type of conflict of interest, self-recusal was expected by the staff, trustee aide, or secretary that volunteered, only if their trustee approved of it. So it's on an interim basis to help them get through this time. And frankly, I think it has helped the speed at which you guys have been able to process applications.
It certainly has. So, well, I mean, what it does is it helps to solidify the recommendations coming before you. So now you know, like, wasn't just one person, but was two people who came to agreement on the score, you know, and what's being presented and recommended. So that's how it's a huge help. And then in any and for our community grants, we actually contract external evaluators, right? These are big grants. We're talking six-figure grants, six-figure dollar grants. And so we contract external evaluators. And it's like I was saying, it's best practice to have multiple evaluators on a grant. These guys, they will evaluate independently, and then they don't even really know who evaluated what. What we did in this last and first round of having more than one evaluator is bring them together if there was a need for calibration. My hope is that this could be more than interim. I think we went in thinking that they would be just part of our pool, because we would like to be able to maintain having multiple evaluators on each of the sponsorships. So I just put that, you know, on the table. And then, yes, mahalo for the reminder that aides had to get approval of their trustees. And so thank you for those of you who have supported that.
And I mean, I'll also point out, self-recusal is expected, right? And we had a sponsorship a month ago, the Hokulus. We have two board of governors sitting at this table, and they recused themselves from voting on that sponsorship. So I don't, on an interim basis, at least for now, I don't see a problem with it, provided all the, you know, the safety measures are put in place.
Well, in the past, we've always had 3 people review each grant request. I'm just sharing, because 2 people, you seem to think it's generous, but 3 people is a very safe number, and that means that you need more people.
So it was 3 for community grants, which I'm saying are the big grants, right? We're talking $100,000, $200,000. These are max $15,000 requests. And they're like a much larger number of requests. However, like the process is way less rigorous than what you would go through for a community grant. So I think that 2 is pretty, I think it's a good ratio, considering these are smaller grants, you know, the frequency and then the volume of them. But yeah, you know, it's in our budget, some mahalo, stipends for external evaluators, which would be minimally 3 for community grants. And I make up this year, that will be like our CIP community grants, that will be the grant, the solicitations that will go out this year.
Trustee Galataria.
Well, thank you, Chair. So Kanaaho, I've noticed that certainly we are receiving grants to approve, unlike before when we used to approve them 2 days before they're supposed to happen. Now, is that a clear result of this new 2-man team? Or how did it come? We wanted you to extend that, that walk up to the grant.
Yeah, no, thank you, because I do recall you made a comment. Both you and Trustee Akina had asked at one meeting, like there were concerns because the sponsorship that was being put before the board happened and that the event was happening in the same month. So this is actually, you know, we rolled out Ho'akoa'koa in January, and we have to kind of catch up, right, and give organizations time to apply, which is why we were bringing things before the board the month before. But what we finally have gotten to is we've gotten to the timeline that we have set where we are giving ourselves ample time. So we're setting deadlines early. I believe April 1st was the deadline for these Q2 sponsorships, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But we're giving ourselves time to take it in, process, right? Ensure that they meet criteria, they got all their forms in, and then sending them out for evaluation. And then making sure we have time to work on those action items, recommendations, and then the back end too, because that takes time as well, making sure that they're going to get their checks on time. Not to say we didn't have challenges here during this round, but that's the plan with Chantel, is to get to a place where like it becomes a kind of a well-oiled machine, where process is easier. But it was intentional to get to this point. It just took this time. to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
here.
So whatever you're doing, you keep it going. Because the trustees, I mean, if we don't want to see our aides involved in this process, we just won't give them approval.
Yep.
It's pretty simple.
Yep.
But thank you very much because, if we're approving for December now, that's really good. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Stiakalka?
So we will be receiving more sponsorship requests going forward in the BNF committee.
So
Or is this
next
it for
round
up until
should be
December?
after September. So September 1st is the deadline for Q3. And then that'll give Chantel and the team time to take them in, process, send them out for evaluation. And then I believe I told her, go make your own timeline. So I believe October, is it October? November is when she's going to bring the next round of sponsorships before the board.
So Q3, what are the months of Q3?
January through March.
January through March.
Yeah.
So this is it. The ones in this binder here, or this agenda, is the remaining for 2025.
26.
20.
Yeah, fiscal year 26. But we'll always, what we want to do is approve the following fiscal year's Q1 sponsorships in the previous, so in 26, we want to approve July, August, September. Because again, that's, if we wait until July, it's not going to provide enough time to come before the board and process, and you folks don't like after the fact. So we want to be sure that we can bring them to you before these events are happening.
So if there's an event that is happening between next month and December, the window is closed.
The window closed, yes.
Window closed.
It did. Not to say, I don't know if trustees could make exception but we would need to get that in writing. But yeah, the window closed. And I think comms did a good job of blasting Ho'akuakua. It's on our website. We have the deadlines posted. So I think they did a good job of getting the word out there.
Well, the reason why I'm asking too is when I was reviewing the application from the BNF number, which one is it? The Intertribal Council with the powwow. It specifically mentioned that their event coincides with Aloha festivals. So trying to recall if Aloha festivals had applied. Now I know it's not just on this island, it's throughout Hawaii.
I think they did. I gotta check our records, but I think Molokai and Maui, we had some Aloha Festival event approvals. I'm not sure for this island, but I can go back.
But not for
I'll
the
ask the
island.
team to go back in
Yeah.
and check.
Yeah, I think those are certain deadlines that it would be good for us to have on our radar, so that when we're out in the community, or if anybody were to ask us, that we have those firm deadlines on hand, so that if there are different entities that are interested, we can refer them to the website, but then for us just to have that information on hand too. Thank you.
Right, thank you. At this time, Kehal, would we like to continue to proceed with the presentation on our scholarships? Our sponsorships.
Okay, so 2553 is the Ulu Festival, Aina Momona group from Molokai. And, you folks see the recommendation being made. I believe they're here. Most of these groups are here to testify too. We have some in person and some online. So I do mahalo all of them. I do want to point out for this, an action item 2555. So in their request, they had a mix of entertainment and cultural kind of workshop costs. So what we did as an administration is reduce the amount, and we just tried to be even by $500, the eligible amount. So I want to point that out to you folks if you're looking at their applications and see, if entertainment catches your eye. In looking at it further, we saw that it's a mixed, it's a mismatch of both entertainment and other cultural purposes. We have Hala Festival 2554. Let me see, sorry. I have some notes for some of the action items, but not that one. 2555. Which is the intertribal powwow. And he was here last month. He might be here today as well. We have Okra 2556. We did fund them last fiscal year, so that's the other thing I just want to remind trustees is that organizations are only eligible for one event per fiscal year. And then 2557 and on is where we've had 2 evaluators on each of these sponsorships. So we do have the Hawaii Wildlife Center's Festival of Birds. I believe that's going to be at the Naniloa for 5770. That was their full request. Hawaiian Islands Land Trust for their Malamaina Kako event. And I see their CEO here today. The Lydia 8 for the Epic Wahine. I don't know too much about this one, Kalamai, but I know that this is one that trustee has some questions about. So we'll have to follow up to respond to those questions. Again, what we're looking at is criteria and compliance with HRS 17. And then Everett does also do a check with DCCA as he is reviewing and approving action items. Mana Maui for their Pai Pai Pohaku Student Leadership Camp. That's exciting. The Sacred Light Ohana for their event. Kalamai, I'm not giving a lot of details. I'm just kind of going through. 2559. Wait. Sorry. 25. My apologies. 2556. 2559 trustee. They did submit written testimony. The Epic Wahine event. So yes, they are not here in person or online, but they did submit written testimony. 2561 is deferred. So we won't be hearing that one today. 62 is the Key Project on the windward side of the island. 63, Ho'olu Ike Center for Hula and Mele. So last year we did support their conference. Last fiscal year, this year, they requested funds for their hula competition. And then we have the Waianae Economic Development Council, action item 2564 for their Small Business Saturday event. 2565, the Makaha Hawaiian Civic Club for their annual scholarship luau event, which benefits students on the west side of this island. Nakamakai, I believe, is our second to the last for their Keiki Surf Contest. And I think this one is also being held out on the west side. Hamakua Youth Foundation for their Ohana Day event. That's 2567. And the last, the last one that's not an event sponsorship, but Chantel will join me here to just get some approval to be able to process more quickly the line item sponsorships that you folks approved in the biennium budget.
Is that it? Paul? Okay. Do we want to take a brief recess? I know we've been going for an hour and a half. Or do you guys want to just? Okay, let's get the testimonies for people that are here. Okay, thank you so much, Kihao. So we're going to just get through our testimonies for those that are here. Okay, do we have anyone here for BF 25-53? Oh, this is online. Okay, at this time, we'd like to call upon Mercy Riddy, representing Aina Momona. Is she here? Where is she?
Aloha.
Oh, there she is. Aloha, aloha, Mercy.
Aloha, my name is Mercy Ritty. I have the great privilege as to serve as the Molokai Events and Community Engagement Coordinator for Aina Momona. I just want to mahalo the OHA Board of Trustees for the opportunity to apply for the Ho'ako'akoa Lahui event sponsorship and to also share about the organization and the exciting event we look forward to hosting this year. Aina Momona is a nonprofit organization deeply rooted in community. The mission of Aina Momona is to protect and restore the environment while promoting sustainability and food sovereignty. Community events and engagement are an essential part of our mission. Our events bring ohana together, community together, strengthens cultural identity, and empowers ohana to take active roles in caring for the Aina and growing more food. In 2021, Aina Momona received a little over 250 ulu trees from Dr. Noah Kekueva at Lincoln. We distributed about many trees to community and organizations and planted 120 on our farm site, which today continues to thrive and produce fruit. Our first harvest came in 2024, allowing us to share hundreds of pounds of ulu with our community. And we also hosted an ulu cooking series class to teach how to prepare and enjoy ulu in multiple ways. Fast forward to today, 2025. This year alone, Aina Momona has distributed over 2,200 pounds of ulu to feed the community. And then any excess that we had was used to feed the pigs on site, ensuring nothing went to waste. The demand for ulu has grown significantly. One of our goals is to get ulu trees into more yards. As the saying goes, plant an ulu tree and you'll never go hungry. This is absolutely true. Ulu trees are a high-yielding crop requiring minimal care, especially compared to kalo and uala, and has potential to produce up to 700 fruit per year per tree. As we know, ulu was once a dietary staple for generations of Hawaiians and provided a consistent and nutritious food source. Hosting an ulu festival on Molokai helps encourage the planting and consumption of ulu as a local sustainable food. We plan to welcome a wide range of guest speakers, from chefs to agroforest specialists who bring deep knowledge and expertise around ulu. We also hope to distribute ulu trees to ohana and offer a farm tour of our ulu grove and educational site at Kalvanui Fish Pond before the event. Overall, the Ulu Festival directly supports Aina Momona and Molokai's ongoing efforts and mission to build food security by promoting a crop that thrives in our island climate and requires real minimal inputs. Most importantly, the festival highlights the critical need for self-sufficiency and resilience in the face of our reliance on imported food. Approximately 80 to 90% of Hawaii's food is imported, according to the Hawaii Public Health Institute. The festival is scheduled for Saturday, September 20th of this year, timed closely with Maui's annual La Ulu celebration early in the month. In closing, the Ulu Festival on Molokai would be a powerful and timely initiative that directly aligns with OHA's priorities to elevate the health of our lahui, to perpetuate cultural practices. With OHA's support, we can bring this vision to life and continue cultivating a thriving, connected Lahui here in Molokai. Mahalo nui for your time.
Hello, Mercy. Thank you so much for being here and sharing testimony. Thank you. Do we have any other testifiers on this item?
No further testifiers.
Okay, mahalo. All right, so here's what we're going to do at this time, because we do have quite a bit to cover. Unless there are any objections, trustees, we will be proceeding with the public comment for action items B through R, and then reserving trustee discussion and vote until the end. There being no objection, we will proceed accordingly. Trustees? None? Okay, seeing none. Additionally, per request, we'll be deferring action items. J, which is 2561. Yeah, that's being deferred. Okay. All right, so at this time, we're going to call upon our next testimony, which is going to be BF 25-54. Kavehi Lopez will be presenting Pohaku Pelemaka. Kavehi? And this is she is virtual, I believe.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha, Chair Alapa, Vice Chair, and trustees. My name is Kavehi Young. I'm here at the Hawaii Conservation Conference. I'm based on Hawaii Island, but I'm here with you today as a co-organizer of the Hala Festival. I also serve as the Public Outreach Coordinator for the Big Island Invasive Species Committee. First off, I just want to mahalo you folks for the opportunity to provide testimony and request your support in funding the second annual Hala Festival. The festival is more than just an event. It's a gathering of ohana, of ike, and of shared kuleana to place. It was born from a deep recognition that our connection to hala, both as a cultural and ecological resource, is vital to the health of Lahui. We held our first annual Hala Festival back in May of 2024 with over 1,000 attendees. We hosted over 16 different workshops, including weaving and planting, and 5 talk story sessions featuring respected members of the community. As part of my work at the Big Island Invasive Species Committee, we raise awareness about invasive species threats like the hala scale and the invasive coconut rhinoceros beetle, both of these posing serious threats to ulu hala. The festival gives us a chance to talk about these pests in a way that is grounded in aloha aina, because we know that when people understand what's at risk, they're more likely to take action. This event features hands-on weaving and planting workshops, talk story sessions with cultural practitioners, and activities for the whole ohana. Many of our workshop leads and speakers are Kanaka who call Puna home. We also plan to have various nonprofits and community organizations hosting educational booths, as well as local craft and food vendors at the event. Your support will be instrumental in making this event a success. And mahalo nui for your time and consideration, and I'm here to answer any questions that you folks may have. Mahalo.
Mahalo Kavehi, trustees. All right, thank you. Thank you very much for your time. At this time, we'd like to move on to our next presenter, and we have one. He's here in person in the OHA boardroom. I'd like to call upon Robert Kakalia for item number BF 25-55, and he'll be representing the Sky Brothers Collective, DBA Oahu Intertribal Council. Please welcome Robert.
Aloha, Chair. Dr. Robert Kakalia I serve as the volunteer CFO for Sky Brothers Collective, doing business as Oahu Intertribal Council. I am the sole Hawaiian that serves on that board. Otherwise, they are all Native Americans that are both from here and the Turtle Island. I also serve as the CFO for Kamakani Ka'ilikoa, the fiscal sponsor of Sky Brothers Collective. The event is a continuation of a 49-year legacy of powwows in Hawaii. This year, we've asked Mayor Blangiardi to declare September to be Powwow Month in Hawaii, as during that month, what we call a powwow trail is occurring, starting out on the 6th of September, and the following each consequential weekend, there will be a powwow. And so after the first one, the next one will be in Hilo, and then we will be the tail finish of the powwow trail at Kapiolani Park. Originally, when this proposal was drafted, we had intended to utilize the bandstand. Instead, we are currently looking to utilize the amphitheater, where all of you know that it was the home to the Kodak Hula Show. And so we take great pride in continuing pairing this with that legacy. Um, I'm sure that many people are unaware that Native Americans have been present here since Kingdom times, and actually intermarrying with our people, especially in Lahaina when they came over on whaling ships. So we carry on that legacy of their presence in these islands from the 1800s, and we share that aspect with visiting Native Americans to show that they have a place here. We also take great pride in sharing with them our perspective of our Mahu culture. In their culture, it's referred to as Two-Spirit. And so during the powwow, we will be creating a safe space called Rainbow Circle to invite visiting 2S attendees to our powwow and expose them to how we value our Mahu culture. Also, as an economic supporter of local business, if you're familiar with Kapiolani Park, it's called Section 3. Section 3 is the Makai section that is outside of the amphitheater between the bandstand. We will be using Section 3 as a vendor space where we are estimating to have roughly 100 local vendors, a combination of both food and merch. And so we have been on the hunt for local businesses attending events. We just attended the Hula Festival, where we were actively recruiting vendors there. And in that space, we hope to share with the 15 visiting Native American vendors exposure to our crafters, Native Hawaiian crafters and goods, and support Native Indigenous businesses. As you can imagine, it can be a little difficult to host out of town merchants. And so one of the reasons that we're looking for assistance, not specifically from this grant, is to be able to host them properly and make them sure that they're in compliance with state laws and what have you. And so otherwise, that is basically what our powwow event is, and we hope that the board will be able to see the value of supporting this cross-cultural event here in Hawaii. Aloha.
Very much. Anything else, trustees? All right, seeing none, mahalo. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. I'd like to, apparently you missed a testifier. Her name is Leila Kealoha. Leila, are you there? She is testifying in the 25-54. Ohaku Pelemaka. Leila Kealoha. Oh, there she
Are you folks able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Aloha.
Okay, kalamai. Aloha mai kako. My name is Leila Kyo, and I am coming in from Puna. It says the host would like you to promote me to be a panelist. Okay. What is going on? Can you folks hear me?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes,
now,
we can hear you, Leila.
Okay, sorry. Now I can see you folks. Kalamai. My name is Leila Kelo. I'm in Puna, currently down at Pohoiki. I am the executive director of Pohaku Pelemaka, the organization that's applying for the funding for Hala Festival. In collaboration with Big Island Invasive Species Committee. I want to say mahalo for allowing me to testify today in your folks' meeting. And our mission at Pohaku Pelemaka is to preserve, protect, and enhance the special things about Puna in collaboration with our Ohana and the Native Hawaiian well-being and the transmission of intergenerational knowledge. And the Hala Festival last year was an amazing first-time event that occurred at the Maku Market. And one really beautiful thing that happened that day was we had our kupuna of Puna like there all day long. And the funding that we're seeking from you folks is to help pay for our practitioners. We believe that it's important to pay our practitioners for their work, their time, their ike, as well as for those who are coming to play music or people that come and talk stories and share their mo'olelo of the significance of Hala. If you folks are familiar, Puna is well known for Hala. Some of the best Hala has come out of our area and our district. And with the threats that are coming with the Hala scale, the CRB that's now attacking Hala because it's losing the new, it's very important that we promote and educate the significance of Hala. It's very important to our people. It's a dying practice, and it's our kuleana. Yes, so our mission also is about providing these events for free to community and letting them come and be a part of these practices. They don't pay to do a workshop. They don't pay to listen to the talk story sessions. They don't pay for the music. They can come be educated about Hala and those that are working with Hala, how to work with Hala, and the things that are affecting its livelihood. And so I just want to ask you folks to please support our organization. This will be the second annual that we'll be doing this year. And we anticipate having more participants at our event this year, which is free to the public and in collaboration with our Maku Market folks, our Ohana over there. And so I just appreciate the opportunity to testify today on behalf of Pohaku Pelemaka and our best team for this event. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Leila. Have a wonderful day. At this time, we'd like to bring up our next testifier. This is for BF number 25-57. Angela Emiliano will be representing Hawaii Wildlife Center. Angela, are you here? Yeah, I see her.
Hi.
Oh,
Aloha.
there you are. Aloha.
Okay. Thank you to the trustees, to the entire group that's responsible for the sponsorship opportunities. My name is Angela Emiliano. I am the community coordinator at Hawaii Wildlife Center. Together with the Conservation Council for Hawaii, we put on every single year the Hawaii Island Festival of Birds. This is a full celebration of our native manu. And our approach is to shine a light on conservation efforts for our native manu, but also to expand it. And we know that the expansion of the work that we do starts off very simply, helping to educate people about what is native versus non-native. So it is a full day of events. We have it every year at the Grand Aniloa in Hilo. And the day is a combination of vendors, so everybody who has Manu-based merchandise, and also different vendors sharing their conservation work. We also have a full day of speakers and entertainment. But this is a family-friendly event. And as I mentioned earlier, we start very simply. So this year we have added on a Manu 101 component, which is going to be teaching the basics of bird watching conservation efforts. And then throughout the day, we'll have presentations from experts. We are shining the light on our conservation work, but also trying to help keep the momentum of keep the momentum positive, because we know that there are a lot of hurdles with conservation work, but we are focusing on the successes. So one of the things that we are focusing on through our merchandise and also through our talks is the nene population, how it was almost extinct and now it's being celebrated almost 3,500 strong, and now shifting to conversations of how to be good wildlife neighbors. We will have experts talking about hakalau and the reforestation work that's being done there and the conservation work. So together, this is just a grand celebration of our native manu. Everything is just focused towards it. And as I'm sitting here, I'm seeing the manu oku flying around. Many of us have seen more nene around. So it's just sharing and celebrating our conservation work, again, keeping the momentum and really targeting a lot of different ages. So if it's keiki and families learning about manu for the first time, to high school students or emerging professionals that are trying to go into the conservation field, and sharing opportunities for them as well. And also just to spotlight all the good work that we're doing in a climate that isn't very friendly to conservation, how we can all have hands in helping it in many different ways. So I thank you all for the time and for the consideration for this sponsorship. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Angela. At this time, though, I'd like to make a note of BF 25-56 to our trustees of the the Oahu Hawaiian Canoe Racing Association. There is no one here present to testify, but I would still like to call upon if there are any other testifiers for item BF 2556.
No one has raised their hand.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for that. Now we'd like to move on to BF 25-58. That is Olu Campbell, and will be representing the Hawaiian Islands Land Trust. And this is a virtual, oh, I'm sorry, you're in person. Oh, he's here. Okay.
Aloha kako.
Aloha.
Hi, trustees. Nice to see you all. Thank you very much for the consideration of this sponsorship request for one of our major events every year called Malama'aina Kako. I could tell you all about the event. I'm not going to. Instead, I'd just like to share a little story about, let's say, 8 years ago or so, when I was working here at the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. I had a chance to attend this event, Malama'aina Kako, as a representative of OHA. And I remember Auntie Hulu was there. I believe Trustee Ohe, I think you might have been there as well, and a few others. And it was my first, introduction to this organization. And as a result of that introduction, I'm now the CEO of the organization, and I have the ability to, I'm in a position where I can allocate millions of dollars of capital and other resources every year, much of which is not Native Hawaiian specific type of resources, to support Native Hawaiian interests and well-being of our lahui. And I think that type of impact that OHA creates, that's sometimes really hard to track, but it's there. And I really appreciate that. I just want to share that story with you, just to share the appreciation that the OHA's presence in the community goes far and wide, and it's sometimes not seen, but it's there. And I'm a personal kind of testament to that. But yeah, really appreciate the consideration of the sponsorship request, and if you have any questions about the event, I'd be happy to answer them.
Trustees? Right, seeing none. Mahalo. Thank you so much for sharing, giving up your time to come here. Any other testifiers for this item? 25-58.
No further testifiers.
All right, we're going to move on to our next item, number 25-59. This is with Mahea Akau, who representing the, oh, she's not able.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I move that we defer this item.
okay. Any objections to that? All right, seeing none.
But
We'd
why
like
would
to
we
move-
defer? I mean, what is the reason? I mean, didn't they get selected?
They did, but I have questions and they're not here to answer. $15,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah,
And,
but I mean, I want to support our lahui, and I don't want us I want to just make sure that not everybody's here today, and that doesn't mean they don't get money. What I'm trying to say is I want to be behind our organizations and our lahui. And I'm not here to put anybody down or anything. These guys are very capable. They obviously have been awarded a grant, and I don't want to say anything bad about these people.
On that, okay, I also wanted to include that she did send a written testimony. I have it here, and it has been emailed to all of our BOT and our administration. Would you like for me to read it? Oh, okay. All right.
You asked for unanimous consent. Law didn't have
Yeah.
unanimous consent.
Uh-huh.
But wouldn't
3 page. You should have.
Although, what it is since we are still having just
Go ahead, just explain
Okay.
it. I'm going to have
We're
our parliamentarian
since
explain
we're
this.
just having presentation, if you can hold your motion until, or withdraw your motion, you can re-raise it when you're having discussion on this
Okay.
particular issue, because this is just the presentation, the testimony from the public.
Next, Chair.
Okay, mahalo. I'd like to call upon BF 25-62 Rainbow Uli'i, who'll be representing Kualoa Heia Ecumenical Youth Project. And she is virtual. Is Rainbow here? Oh, got it.
Aloha nui, can you folks hear me
Oh.
okay?
Yes, aloha.
Okay,
Go
wonderful.
ahead, Rainbow.
I just want to say that um, just to advocate for the other groups that weren't present, with 7 days notice, it's one of those things where we try our best as community members, and we're running community organizations to be able to make it happen. And so I'm one of those folks who was able to come in today for Key Project, and I hope that you folks all understand that, we are out here and we're making it work. So mahalo for this time. Aloha Chair, Vice Chair, and Trustees. My name is Rainbow Uli'i. I'm the Executive Director at Key Project over in Waihe'e, Oahu. Key Project was founded in 1968 and since has been a pillar in our community building ever since. The mission of Key Project is to nurture the well-being of people in Aina by supporting, serving, and sustaining our community. Our campus is located in Waihe'e, Oahu, right between Kahalu'u and Ka'alaia. We're grateful and proud to be able to serve the entire Ko'olau Oahu through our programs focusing on everybody keiki tukupuna. Key Project is hosting our annual Waihe'e Fest this year, October 11th, 2025. It's a free public cultural event celebrating Waihe'e Valley, where we live, the ahupua'a that we call home. And this community-centered event and gathering invites residents from across Oahu to engage in cultural learning and ohana activities rooted in Native Hawaiian traditions. The event features cultural workshops, for example, lei making, ohe kapala, live entertainment, mele and hula, and a marketplace of Native Hawaiian vendors. Cultural practitioners from the Ko'olau region will offer hana no eo and mo'omehe workshops in Key Project's classroom facilities. And outside, we have at least 20 vendors offering food, crafts, and other goods. For additional reference, we host a Kalo Fest event every year in March, and this year we saw approximately 2,500 visitors throughout the entire event. We're also able to host, we were also able at that event to host similar cultural workshops, ku'i'ai opportunities, and we gave out $2,000 worth of free kalo and poi that was through granted funds there. Key Project is the heart of Ko'olau, leading with Aloha. We're a trusted organization rooted in Aina and responsible for uplifting, connecting, and serving our people from Keiki Tukupuna. We look forward to continuing our mission across Ko'olau with OHA's sustained support. Ke aloha no, mahalo.
Mahalo. Thank you so much for being here. At this time, are there any more testifiers on this item? 25-62.
No further testifiers.
Mahalo. We're going to move on to number 25-63. Kalani Hiapo will be representing Ho'ulu Ike Center for Hula and Mele. And this is a virtual testifier.
Aloha kako. Can you hear me?
Aloha. Aloha Kalani.
Aloha nui kako. Owau Kalani Hiapo. I am the Executive Director for Ho'olu Ike Center for Hula and Mele. I extend our deepest mahalo for the Office of Hawaiian Affairs for this opportunity to testify and for considering sponsorship for support for our first A'ai Kahula competition that will take place on October 25th, 2025 at Moanalua Gardens. This competition was created with a clear and vital purpose to provide secondary students with a dynamic and meaningful platform to showcase their achievements in mele, hula, and oli. More than a competition, it's a celebration for their dedication, discipline, passion, and a vehicle to nurture deeper connections to the Hawaiian identity, language, and cultural practice. What makes A'aika Hula competition unique, it is the direct engagement with students and kumu hula within the school systems. It's a place where haumana and kumu come together in a competitive yet uplifting environment to share the knowledge and skills cultivated throughout the school year, and often more beyond that. This collaboration not only reinforces cultural identity, but also emphasizes the vital role of Hawaiian arts within education. It highlights the value of place-based learning and affirms the rightful place of hula, mele, and oli in academic settings. The competition strongly aligns with OHA's Mana Maoli strategic plan, especially in advancing cultural identity, Olelo Hawaii, and Oiwi well-being. It is also a powerful opportunity for community engagement, bringing together students, families, cultural practitioners, and the wider public to celebrate excellence in Hawaiian culture and Hawaiian arts. In its core, A'ai Kahula is about investing in our youth. When we uplift them to culturally rooted platforms like this, we strengthen their sense of belonging and pride and resilience, ensuring our heritage lives on through them. On behalf of Ho'olu Ike Center for Hula and Mele and many school communities and kumuhula participating, we humbly ask for your continued support. Your investment in the competition is an investment in the future of our lahui. Mahalo piha to the Budget and Finance Committee, the Board of Trustees, and the entire Oha Ohana for your time and consideration and for uplifting our people. Mahalo.
Mahalo nui Kalani. At this time, are there any more testifiers on this item 25-63?
No further testifiers, Chair.
All right, we're going to move on to item number 25-64. This is for Siobhan Lave, who will be presenting for the Waianae Economic Development Council. And this will be virtual.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Mahalo, you may proceed.
Aloha, my name is Siobhan Lave, and I serve as the Program Director for the Waianae Economic Development Council. Mahalo for the opportunity to share why Small Business Saturday Waianae and our Business Resource Hub is vital for our community. The mission of WEDC is to increase economic opportunities for Waianae Coast residents by developing the community's rich, natural, cultural, and human resources. The Small Business Saturday Waianae and Business Resource Hub isn't just a makeke. It's an economic lifeline. It's a day focused on building capacity, strengthening resilience, and creating long-term opportunities for Native Hawaiian and local businesses on the Waianae Coast. This free event delivers real solutions such as technical assistance and financial education to help businesses grow strategically. It offers direct access to resource partners, so funding programs, trainings, and business development support that small business owners rarely have access to in our area on Oahu. It also offers community education, so teaching residents powerful ways to champion small businesses beyond just purchasing, such as advocacy, referrals, and sustained engagement. With OHA's sponsorship, we will launch a business resource hub at the event, which is a one-stop space where owners can connect to the tools and partnerships they need to succeed. We'll showcase local businesses, which keeps dollars circulating in our community where they matter most. And we'll provide technical assistance kits so that every participant leaves with actionable steps for long-term sustainability. OHA's sponsorship will directly support a native Hawaiian graphic designer to develop the event graphics, demonstrations by Waianae-based cultural practitioners, presentations by Waianae-based small businesses, shop local kits, and business starter kits to empower the community and the entrepreneurs. This event directly aligns with OHA's mission to advance economic self-sufficiency for Native Hawaiians. Supporting our small businesses means supporting our ohana, preserving cultural practices, and ensuring that Waianae's economy is not only surviving, but thriving. Your kokua removes barriers, it opens doors, and maximizes impact, making this event free and accessible to all. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I humbly ask for your favorable decision on this sponsorship request.
Mahalo, Siobhan. Do we have any other testifiers at this time? 425-64.
We have Luann Favorito with her hand raised.
For Jermaine?
I think.
Oh.
25.
She lowered her hand. No further testifiers, Chair.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. I'm sorry. Okay, we're going to move on to BF 25-65. This is with Luann Mahiki Langford Favorito, who will be representing Makaha Hawaiian Civic Club. Luann?
Okay, I think I'm on. Aloha, good afternoon, trustees. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Makaha Hawaiian Civic Club is very proud to submit an application for sponsorship. We provide an annual scholarship for the OPO living on the 96792 zip code. And we actively advertise on OHA's He Ipu Ka'eo Scholarship Resource page, which we get a lot of success from. And we do it throughout with the counselors on the West Side. So as far as our testimony, I'm sure it's long. You guys had a long day. We just want to thank you folks for your consideration. I did want to point out your grant reviewers did a really good job in the matrix. And what that does is it helps us to see where we did not max out and where we could do better. So I thank your grant reviewing team. Mahalo, everyone. Have a great afternoon.
Mahalo, Luann. At this time, do we have any testifiers on this item, 25-65?
Yes, Jermaine Myers.
Okay, yes.
In person.
Hi, yes, hi. May we have Jermaine, please? Please come forward.
Aloha.
Aloha, Chair. My name is Jermaine Myers. I'm an OHA beneficiary for beneficiary advocacy and empowerment. I'm also a Nanakuli Hawaiian Homestead lessee. Mahalo for speaking on this and the previous action items. They're from Waianae-Moku, my community. I, of course, am very much in support of our community receiving grants from OHA. My only input is that regarding the fundraiser. So I don't understand when OHA is now giving grants for fundraising. What are some of the criteria that are OHA, which I had asked about when the policy was first brought out, but I haven't heard that answer regarding it. For example, if they're receiving a $10,000 grant and they only fundraise $5,000. Also, in the past, OHA would buy a table. So say if they bought a ticket for $100, but now the event is asking for a $15,000 grant. How is OHA reconciling the difference between attending a fundraiser or sponsoring or buying a ticket on a fundraiser versus giving monies to help with the expenses of a fundraiser. The fundraiser component is something that I'm still kind of trying to understand, because when you're applying for a grant, are you going to say all of your expenses? Does OHA require you to say how much money are you fundraising for? What is that fundraising money going towards? So in this case, it's a scholarship, but why not just give the whole $10,000 for the scholarship instead of fundraising for a scholarship and using it towards expenses for scholarships? That's just the perplexity of it. Or is it going to go towards the, because depending on how reports are being asked, you're asking for an event report, maybe they had multiple sponsors. Is it going to go towards the expense of the nonprofit versus actually being put into a scholarship fund? It's just very messy in my perspective when there's an event sponsorship, but the event is actually for a fundraiser. In that respect, all nonprofits should just send OHA fundraiser requests for events. Create an event, just create an event and do a fundraiser. And then that way you can have fundraising for your administrative costs or whatever in order to get OHA funding. It's just very, very confusing, and I didn't see anything in the packet to help me understand like the consequences of taking X amount of dollars, and if that does not end up in the purpose of the fundraiser, such as a scholarship, or can they actually fundraise to help sustain the nonprofit? Just have a luncheon, and we need funding to sustain our nonprofit to pay for employee salaries or for executive salaries. One of the executive grant recipients that are asking for $500,000 is paying himself $120,000 a year, and OHA is going to give him $250,000 a year. Does that reconcile itself when most of OHA's money is going to pay for one individual salary? And so that's the kind of questioning about because I don't see the state doing GIAs for fundraising. I don't see the city doing GIAs for fundraising. I also don't see DHHL, who gives a lot of money out for fundraising events. So I'm just looking for next quarter, when fundraising events come up, has that been reconciled? But I also didn't hear a conversation on the board level with an understanding of fundraising in regards to how that works out in the event, because that was never part of OHA's event sponsorship to do fundraising. And so when you compare it to like when you're sponsoring an event for like say CNHA Hawaiian Convention, yes, they're charging funding because the expenses outweigh the amount of the grant funding.
30 seconds left.
And so, but it is for workshops, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm just trying to reconcile it. Kia kuapu, God bless all of you.
Mahalo, Jermaine. Thank you so much. At this time, are there any more testifiers
No
on this
further
item?
testifiers, Chair.
Okay, mahalo for that. We'd like to move on we have two more left. 25-66 for this with Matt Kauwe, who will be representing Na Kamakai. Matt Kauwe. Hope I said that correctly. And this will be virtual.
Aloha, this is Matt Kawe. Nice to see all of you.
Aloha.
Right on. So I serve as the COO of Nakamakai, and we are, like everyone else, very grateful for the opportunity to compete for this grant. We are based out of Waianae at Poka'ibe, and we offer daily services to empower keiki in the ocean. So we have a property right on the water. It was the old Harvey House for those that may be familiar with it. And we've been doing daily services for children in the community absolutely free for the past 3 years. Every single program we give to kids, they do not pay a dime. So it's important to get funding like this to support our events. I'm also excited to share that we're starting swim lessons in the ocean for all of the fourth graders on the west side in our public school system. That's a huge win for our community, and in a community that there's no public swimming pools from Kapolei all the way to the end. So that's just an example of some of the work we do. So this event that we're trying to get a grant for is our 9th annual Keiki Surf Contest at Makaha. We've been holding it for specifically kids in the 96792 area. So only children that live in that zip code can enter. It's free to enter. And the purpose of the event is to provide access to competitive surfing to Hawaiians in the community and to children that live there. We serve a lot of Hawaiians, just as everyone knows, that the West Side is the highest concentration in the world of Native Hawaiians. And we'd be surprised to see how many kids don't have access to surfing competitions, to mentorship. So it's just a really fun event that we do for children. We're expecting about 300 contestants, and about 250 of them are Native Hawaiian. We offer, trophies. We play it up with great prizes. Kids get surfboards. It's a lot of fun. So, and they also get fed breakfast and lunch. So all of those things are kind of in our grant application in terms of the budget. So yeah, just want to mahalo you guys again for your consideration. I know everyone's busy and everyone's doing great work, and I can only imagine how difficult it is to go through all of these requests. So mahalo nui. Aloha.
Oh, mahalo, Matt. Thank you so much for sharing your testimony. At this time, do we have any more testifiers?
No further testifiers, Chair.
All right, and moving on to our last testifier. This is for BF 25-67. Mahealani Maikui and Monica Supiter will be representing Hamakua Youth Foundation, and this will also be virtual.
Right there. Aloha. I am Mahealani Maikui from Hamakua Youth Center, and we'd like to say mahalo for your time and listening to our testimony today. The Hamakua Youth Center has been in the Honoka'a community for 20 years, and we've serviced youth of all ages. It started as a drop-in program, and now it's a day active after-school program. We service 86% of our keiki are Kanaka, and we bridge the gap between home and school. So we help a lot with their homework. We support families in whichever way that we can. So yeah, our project aligns with the strategic policies and programs that support multiple pathways for economic stability for Kanaka. We also streamline a lot of our activities with OHA's Ohana, Mo'omeheo, and Aina priorities. Yeah. So we are asking for this funding for our main fundraiser, which happens in December. And the funds that we raise for our fundraiser goes directly to our keiki, whether it's for transportation, providing services, having people come in to teach them a certain skill. Yeah.
Food assistance.
Yeah. And we do food assistance quarterly. So yeah.
That's good.
I don't know. Mahalo for your time. I appreciate all of you. I know you guys have a lot to ponder, and I just want to say mahalo.
Thank you, ladies, for joining us today. Mahalo. Do we have any more testifiers on this item number?
No further testifiers.
All right. Okay, so at this time, we're going to go back to the top trustees, and this is where we begin the approval items of our action items. And at this time, we'd like to begin with the,
Madam Chair,
yes, go ahead.
I'd like to move to approve and authorize FY 2026 sponsorship funding to Aina Momona for the 2025 Ulu Festival event on September 20. Yeah. Oh, guys, I was almost done. 2025. Oh, man. In the amount of $10,875.
Do you have a second? No need? Okay, that's right, no need. Discussion, any trustees? All right, let's, seeing none, let's call for the vote.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka.
Aye.
Trustee Akina.
Aye.
Trustee Galataria. Trustee Kahele. Trustee Lindsay. Trustee Souza.
Aye.
Vice Chair Waihe'e.
Yes.
Chair Lapa.
Yes.
9 yes votes.
All right, moving on to action item BF 25-54.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I'd like to move to approve and authorize FY 2026 sponsorship funding to Pohaku Telemata for the Hala Festival 2025 event on September 20th, 2025 in the amount of $9,834.
Discussion, trustees? Seeing none, let's call for the vote.
Trustee Ahuna.
Aye.
Trustee Akaka. Trustee Akina.
Aye.
Trustee Galataria.
Aye.
Trustee Kahele. Trustee Lindsay. Trustee Souza. Vice Chair Waihe'e.
Yes.
Chair Lapa.
Yes.
9 yes votes.
All right, moving on to action item.
Madam Chair.
Yes, go
I'd like
ahead.
to move to approve and authorize FY 2026 sponsorship funding to Sky Brothers Collective DBA Oahu Intertribal Council for the 2025 Honolulu Intertribal Powwow Circle of Nations and Ho'okipa Ali'i event on September 20th to 21st, 2025 in the amount of $14,500.
And discussion, trustees? All right, seeing none, call for the vote.
Trustee Ahuna.
Aye.
Trustee Akaka.
Aye.
Trustee Akina.
Aye.
Trustee Galataria.
Aye.
Trustee Kahele. Trustee Lindsay. Trustee Souza. Vice Chair Waihe'e.
Yes.
Chair Lapa.
Yes.
9 yes votes.
Madam
Yes, go ahead.
Chair, I'd like to move to approve and authorize FY 2026 sponsorship funding to Oahu Hawaiian Canoe Racing Association Hawaii for the 2025 Na'Wahine Okekai event on September 28, 2025 in the amount of $12,000.
Discussions? Yeah. All right, call for the vote, please.
Trustee Ahuna.
Aye.
Trustee Akaka.
Aye.
Trustee Akina. Trustee Galataria. Trustee Kahele. Trustee Lindsay. Trustee Souza. Vice Chair Waihe'e.
Yes.
Chair Lapa.
Yes.
Trustee Lindsay. 8 yes, 1 abstention.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move to approve and authorize FY 2026 sponsorship funding to Hawaii Wildlife Center for the 2025 Hawaii Island Festival of Birds event on October 4th, 2025 in the amount of $5,770.
Thank you. Any discussion, trustees? All right, seeing none, will you call for the vote, please?
Trustee Ahuna.
Aye.
Trustee Akaka.
Aye.
Trustee Akina.
Aye.
Trustee Galataria.
Aye.
Trustee Kahele. Trustee Lindsay. Trustee Souza. Vice Chair Waihe'e.
Yes.
Chair Lapa.
Yes.
9 yes votes.
Moving on to our next item.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move to approve and authorize FY 2026 sponsorship funding to Hawaiian Islands Land Trust for the 2025 Malama Aina Kako event on October 4th, 2025 in the amount of $10,000.
Discussion, trustees? All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Galataria,
Aye.
Trustee Kahele, Trustee Lindsay, Trustee Souza, Vice Chair Wahehe,
Yes.
Chair Alapa.
Yes.
9 yes votes.
See, guys, this one here, approve and authorize FY 2026 sponsorship funding to Lydia 8 for the Epic Wahine 2025 event on October 5 to 12, 2025 in the amount of $15,000.
Madam Chair, I'd like to
We'd like to take a vote on the deferment and discussion on the deferral.
The reason for my request on the deferral is that we're giving $15,000 here. And we haven't heard from this person. And we received a memo minutes before our meeting saying they weren't able to attend or virtually or in person. I wanted to know, for such an activity, how many Hawaiians are involved in this activity? And how is the money going to be spent? So I see that it's later on in the year, and maybe we can get those questions answered by the next meeting or so. So I ask the trustees to give me that opportunity.
So to clarify, we're seeking a postponement till the next Budget and Finance Committee meeting. Okay. Oh, Trustee Ahuna has his hand raised. Go ahead, trustee.
Thank you, Chair. There are certain guidelines that everybody has to qualify before getting chosen for these grants. And I believe this grant got chosen because they went through everything. We cannot just stop and just drop everything because we don't like an organization. The reason why I'm saying this is I believe in our grants department. I believe they did a good job. And we got to stop doing this, going back and saying, oh, this was bad because they never show up. They gave testimony. And not everybody who got awarded here at OHA gave testimony. I mean, I just don't want to put a bad flag on people in our organizations. And this is happening too many times because we don't like the organization. So for me, we have to step up too as trustees too as well and support our lahui. These are people who actually went through the process and they got awarded. And then now we asking just this guys, how many Hawaiians going to attend? This is not fair to this organization. Thank you.
Trustee Akaka.
Mahalo. I'm seeing in, I think this is the application, that there's an estimated 1,500 Native Hawaiian attendees participating actively, but maybe Keha or somebody from grants can come up to give better clarification on this event.
Yes, I was just going to ask that. How would you mind coming to the front and giving us a more in-depth detail on this particular request?
Can do, and I'll be, honest, the detail I'm going to provide is what was provided by the organization in the application. So they do have an expected attendance of 4,000, with 1,500 being Native Hawaiian. They have provided a breakdown of their budget requests. And again, they have matching resources. They are collaborating with Lili Uokalani Trust and other organizations to put on this multi-day event. It is, I'm gonna, pull up some of the things that stood out for me. They're gonna have a cultural village. So it looks like it's an Ironman competition, but they're also gonna have mo'olelo and mele workshops. It is honoring and uplifting our ali'i, our wahine ali'i, as part of the multi-day event. They have Owai Koinoa initiative. So along the paths of this event, they have interpretive signage that's strategically placed to talk about different mo'olelo and facts about this place. So, Kalamai, yeah, it's again multi-day event, different types of events, the workshops, a la pena, which looks like this is a community mural day that where the design is inspired by ali'i symbolism. They'll be having some hands-on demonstrations and collaborations that showcase ali'i stewardship and malama aina. So, and also indigenous art and engagement. This comes straight from the app, just FYI, where they will be featuring Native Hawaiian artists. And so, again, I did read somewhere else that they are collaborating with other Native Hawaiian organizations in putting this multi-day event on. And I do mahalo Trustee Ahuna's mana'o. So again, right, all of our organizations had to meet the criteria of ho'akuakua, which is again a combination of what was formerly ahahui grants as well as just event sponsorships. And they have met that criteria. They've provided all the required documents to be in compliance with HRS 17. And then this particular event did undergo evaluation by two evaluators. So that's all I can say, I think.
Mahalo. As I don't recall an application coming in from them in previous times, is this a one-time Epic Wahine event, or is this something that has been ongoing through the years?
Don't know.
First time?
Their second year. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have a motion for deferral on this item. At this time, we're going to take a vote for that.
Trustee Ahuna, this is the motion to defer.
Kanalua, sorry.
Trustee Akaka,
Ole? Sorry, I didn't hear.
thank you. And here. Trustee Akina,
Ole.
Trustee Galataria,
No.
Trustee Kahele, Trustee Lindsay, Trustee Souza,
Ole.
Vice Chair Waihe,
No.
Chair Alapa, Trustee Ahuna,
Aole.
8 no. The motion to defer fails.
Okay, now at this time, we'd like to go back to action item BF 25-58 for approval of 10,000 event sponsorship. Wait, are we in the right one?
Yes, because the motion was pending, I believe. Trustee Waihe's motion. So now we are going to vote on Trustee Waihe.
Okay, so we're going to vote on Trustee Waihe's motion on approval of 10,000 event sponsorship to the Hawaiian Islands Land Trust for the 2025 Malama Aina Kako event.
Trustee,
is that the right? I'm sorry.
I got a question. We were just, so we went past the
Sorry,
deferment.
wrong one. My Kalamai.
Yeah, we still on Epic Wahine.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It was for BF 25-59, approval of 15,000 in event sponsorship for the Lidate for the Epic EPIC Wahine 2025 event. Go ahead.
He made the motion.
Oh, he made the motion. Okay, so at this time, we have a vote, please.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Galataria,
Aye.
Trustee Kahele, Trustee Lindsay, Trustee Souza, Vice Chair Waihe,
Yes.
Chair Alapa.
Yeah, yes.
8 yes, 1 no.
Okay, go ahead.
Madam Chair.
Go ahead. 2560.
Wait. Is it this? Okay. To move to approve and authorize FY 2026 sponsorship funding to Mana Maui for the 2025 Pai Pohaku Student Leadership Camp on October 8th through 10th, 2025 in the amount of $14,980.
All right, and discussion, trustee? All right, seeing none, and call for the vote.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Galataria,
Aye.
Trustee Kahele, Trustee Lindsay, Trustee Souza, Vice Chair Wahehe, Chair Alapa.
Aye.
9 yes votes.
All right, for item number 2561, the amount of 7,500 in event sponsorship for Sacred Light Ohana, we are deferring this one.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Mahalo.
No, it had already deferred by unanimous consent, so that one's already deferred.
Okay, moving on to action item BF 25-62. Go ahead.
To move to approve and authorize FY 2026 sponsorship funding to Kualoa
Ecumenical.
oh boy.
Ecumenical. Ecumenical.
Ecumenical Youth Project. Oh, for the Waihe'e Festival 2025 event on October 11, 2025 in the amount of $7,500.
Discussion, trustees.
Madam Chair, I strongly support this event. For some, I don't know what it is about it.
Let's call for the vote, please.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Galataria,
Aye.
Trustee Kahele, Trustee Lindsay, Trustee Souza, Vice Chair Wahehe,
Yes.
Chair Alapa.
Yes.
9 yes votes.
All right, moving on to our next item. Please proceed.
Madam Chair, I think it's the right one. I'd like to move to approve and authorize FY 2026 sponsorship funding to Ho'oulu Ike Center for Hula and Mele for the 2025 Ika Hula competition on October 25th, 2025 in the amount of $10,875.
Any discussions, trustees? Seeing none, let's call for the vote, please.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Galataria,
Aye.
Trustee Kahele, Trustee Lindsay, Trustee Souza, Vice Chair Wahehe,
Yes.
Chair Alapa.
Yes.
9 yes votes.
All right, let's move on to our next item.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move to approve and authorize FY 2026 sponsorship funding to Waianae Economic Development Council for the 2025 Small Business Saturday Waianae Business Resource Hub event on November 8th, 2025 in the amount of $10,000.
Discussion? Seeing none, let's call for the vote, please.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Galataria,
Aye.
Trustee Kahele, Trustee Lindsay, Trustee Souza, Vice Chair Wahehe,
Yes.
Chair Alapa.
Yes.
9 yes votes.
All right, moving on to our next item.
Madam Chair, I'd like
Yes.
to move to approve and authorize FY 2026 sponsorship funding to Makaha Hawaiian Civic Club for the 2025 Makaha Hawaiian Civic Club Annual Scholarship Luau event on November 8th, 2025 in the amount of $8,000.
Discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Galataria,
Aye.
Trustee Kahele, Trustee Lindsay, Trustee Souza, Vice Chair Wahehe,
Yes.
Chair Alapa.
Yes.
9 yes votes.
And then moving on to our next item, go ahead.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move to approve and authorize FY 2026 sponsorship funding to Nakamakai for the 2025 Keiki Surf Contest event on November 28th through the 30th, 2025 in the amount of $11,250.
Discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Galataria,
Aye.
Trustee Kahele, Trustee Lindsay, Trustee Souza, Vice Chair Wahehe,
Yes.
Chair Alapa.
Yes.
9 yes votes.
All right, and our last one.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move to approve and authorize FY 2026 sponsorship funding to Hamakua Youth Foundation for Ohana Day 2025 event on December 13th, 2025 in the amount of $5,875.
Discussion, trustees? All right, seeing none, let's call for the vote.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Kaka, Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Galataria, Trustee Kahele, Trustee Lindsay, Trustee Souza, Vice Chair Waihe'e, Chair Alapa.
Yes.
9 yes votes.
Madam Chair, I want to move to the next one.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. It's the next item on the agenda. I'm just gonna put it on the table. I'd like to move to approve the delegation of authority to the OHA administration to execute and administer grants to identified OHA sponsorship recipients that were approved through line items in the fiscal year 2026 and fiscal year 2027 OHA Biennium budget, and which meet budget proviso requirements.
Is there any discussion? No. Oh, okay, thank you, sorry about that. So this agenda item, folks, has been previously approved by the board on June 30th as the BF 25-51. So no further action will be needed by this committee. However, we're going to take public testimony on this agenda item. Do we have any? Do we have? No. All right, seeing there's no testimony. Okay, so by unanimous consent, I'm moving to postpone indefinitely this item.
Okay.
Yes. Are there any objections? Seeing there's none, this item is deferred. Okay, so let's move on to this is for Q, action item Q. And then we're on to number R, presentation by Office of Hawaiian Affairs. Because we already voted on that? We already voted on it? The action item BF 25-68. Because it was approved by the board on June 30th. I'm yeah. So where do why are we not? Okay, hold on. So what would this be about? Okay. So this. Hold on. This is this is no. It's all for it. Yeah, I think there's confusion. Yes. Yes. It's
a motion.
Legacy. It's okay. Sorry. Was it just legacy?
It's just
Oh, I didn't see that.
legacy, the 15 that were approved in line items. So all it is yes. So yeah, so we're good with that then.
So we're good.
Yeah.
Okay, we're
Okay. Formalized, because that means these will go through process. They won't be evaluated, but we will again meet the budget proviso
okay.
requirements.
So it's your turn to execute at the end of the day.
Why was it on the agenda?
It was a mistake.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair. Thank you.
To be formalized through action.
I think for, clarity, transparency, that these will be processed differently. They won't, we will collect all the requirements. We won't put them through evaluation. They've already, and that's it. But we're good. Mahalo.
So the list of grants are in the back of that sheet in your books.
Trustee. Go ahead, Trustee Ahuna. Can you hear?
Sorry, I couldn't hear what was going on. Is there an action item on the board table or?
No, sorry. That was a oopsie. Sorry.
but it is on the agenda.
That was, yes, and that was deferred.
We
It
voted.
was
to
all the
defer it?
legacy grants, Dan,
Oh,
which we
I just
approved
couldn't
in the
hear. I
budget.
didn't know what's going on. Okay.
Yeah, we didn't quite understand too. But it was in the budget that we already approved, so no sense approve it again.
Yeah, exactly. Right. All right. Okay, where are we now? Okay, so now we are in R. Yes. So this is a presentation by the Office of Hawaiian Affairs Administration with a briefing on Hawaiian Focus Charter School funding, the implementation plan for fiscal year 2026. This time we have Kihao and, oh, okay. Our grants manager.
It's gonna be Chantel, and sorry, I'm gonna just real quick to close all those sponsorships is say sorry, apologize that we brought so many before the board at one time. Again, it was the goal to do it quarterly, but I think we're learning like that was too much for one meeting, and so Chantel will break those up. And okay, I also wanted to get it off my plate before I go. So mahalo, yaoko. And I'm gonna turn it over to Chantel. She did this.
Chantel. All right, mahalo.
Lisa's going to join me for the first part.
Right, Chair recognizes Lisa. You can start first.
Aloha. Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, mahalo, Chair, Vice Chair, and trustees. Mahalo for this opportunity to present today on the Native Hawaiian education. We are here to walk you through the awarding process for the Hawaiian Focus Charter School Grant and to share how this investment will support our haumana, educators, and school communities across the Pai'aina. Next slide, please. Our goal is to ensure that we are aligned with the board on the intent and implementation of this funding, and to confirm that there's a clear and efficient process in place to get these funds to the schools. These grants represent a meaningful shift for OHA. We have not directly administered charter school funding in many years. Because of that, we want to ensure both our staff and our school partners are fully prepared and supported throughout this transition. Next slide. The relationship with the charter schools is an agency-to-agency partnership, which is rooted in a shared public mission to advance the well-being of Native Hawaiian communities. While charter schools are often governed by nonprofit boards, they are part of the state's Hawaii public education system, and thus are public institutions aligned with OHA's constitutional and statutory mandates. This connection goes beyond the funder-grantee dynamic, as it is built on shared kuleana and mutual accountability. Through funding, technical assistance, and policy collaboration, OHA and the Hawaiian Focus Charter Schools work together to promote culturally rooted education, Aina-based learning, and language revitalization. This partnership aligns with OHA's Mana'i Mauli'ola strategic direction and is supported by legal and policy framework that prioritizes Native Hawaiian education pathways. Next slide. These grants reaffirm OHA's commitment to Native Hawaiian education as a critical pillar of our mission. Our goal is to create equitable educational opportunities for our haumana and to ensure that their learning environments are safe, healthy, and rooted in community and culture. For this grant cycle, the two prior funding streams, which are per pupil and facility and maintenance, had been combined into a single opportunity, which gives the schools the flexibility to choose the option that best meets their needs while maintaining strong accountability. Next slide. OHA's commitment of over $6.7 million for fiscal year 26 and 27 combined is the largest funding increase OHA has provided. This enhanced investment will benefit nearly 4,000 Native Hawaiian haumana and staff across 17 schools, each of which will receive an increase in funding. Next slide. Thank you. So what we hope to roll out next week to the charter schools are these three options. So because we combine the per pupil and the facilities together,
We're giving them that flexibility to choose option 1, where they will designate what portion of the funding is per pupil and which portion is facilities. Option 2, they can decide to use all of it for per pupil funding, or option 3, all of it for facilities and maintenance. And you can see, whoops, let me go back. And you can see on the slide, we put reporting requirements. So as we have done in the past, per pupil requirement will be semi-annually. And previously, facilities was done on a month-to-month basis, but we're going to stretch that into a quarterly report. Next slide. So for per pupil, 25% will be the initial payment, and the remaining would be dispersed semi-annually. And they all will, everyone does performance measurement reports, or what we call PMTs, and everyone does an annual report data, or what we call ARDs. Facilities and maintenance have, again, the initial 25%. What we are proposing is, because sometimes the startup costs for a program can exceed what the 25% is. So with consultation with grant staff, we would be open to approving a greater than 25% initial deposit to help them get started. We'd kind of want to know what those projects are and make sure they had, you know, if it required a contractor or anything special, that there will be set up to be successful in completing that. And after that, we would do the quarterly reporting. And it's important to note that the facilities funding is a reimbursement for the schools. So again, facilities is quarterly reporting. So they will actually be sending us their invoices so that we can reconcile and then do reimbursements. They will still do the performance reporting and the ADR reporting. And we will be partnering with education to do quarterly visits to all 17 schools. Okay, next slide. Allowable and disallowed costs. This is mainly for our facilities. As you can see, most of it is very routine. Allowable costs include essential services and repairs that ensure a healthy learning environment, such as janitorial services, utility expenses, repairs, ADA compliance, safety related issues. Disallowable costs include expenses that fall outside of the scope of direct facility operations or do not serve a clear educational or safety function. These would include instructional materials, staff salaries not tied to facilities work, new construction or land purchase, decorative enhancements, or administrative overhead. Some of that is covered in the per pupil funding. Funding may not be used for personal use items or major capital projects unless explicitly approved. And again, careful documentation and adherence to allowable uses ensure that this funding is used effectively and equitably across all schools. We did start 2 items. The first is student transportation, purchase of motorized vehicles. So what's come up in the past facilities grants are schools asking if they can purchase a bus, a van to transport kids, or a golf cart. So because this is very purposely facilities aligned, we would not allow those larger motor vehicle expenses. But in terms of a golf cart, because golf carts can be used for emergency situation to help Hamana with you know, certain disabilities. I myself, as a former kumu, have seen, you know, staff and students collapse for various reasons, and we were lucky to have a golf cart to pick them up and, you know, meet an ambulance so that we could get them the services they need. So that, with that prior discussion, we feel like is an allowable cost for them. And then the second is new construction or building expansions. So these are also traditionally not allowable under facilities funding. However, if it's a limited structural modification, example, turning a storage facilities into a health room, if that's needed, we would consider, again, have the conversation and make sure you have everything in place, and we would be likely to approve an expense like that. So again, just really emphasizing that it's clearly linked to student safety, facility usability, and legal compliance. Next slide. So this is what we hope our implementation plan is. It's pretty aggressive, seen as the start of the school year technically starts next week when teachers and staff return, with students returning, I believe, August 5th. It will be hard to set things up with poll, but we hope that what we have planned to do will help them. So we're going to do as much as we can to preload what we can for the poll. We're going to send out a Google form introducing ourselves, explaining what the new process will be, getting information from them that we can then front load into Fondant, get them their logistical sign-ins, and then help them complete those. We are prepping already with legal and R&E, any of the PMT measurements. We're setting up budget templates so that once we know what they would like to do, it's a simple drop in, and then routing the contracts, sitting with them to make sure they understand the contracts and all of the follow-ups required. We do expect that there'll be delays again with the start of the school year, and also because this is a shift for a lot of the polls, and some of the larger schools have support staff to help. Some of the smaller schools may not have the support staff in place to help the polls. So we want to make sure that the grant staff is prepared to hold hands, walk through as much as we can with them as often as they need to be successful with this. Any questions?
Does any of our trustees have questions so far? Yes, go ahead, Trustee Kahele.
Thanks. Thanks for the presentation. I actually have a lot of feedback for you. And while I think what you've tried to put together is well-meaning, I think it really defeats the purpose of what we were trying to achieve in this budget. And what you're attempting to do is overly bureaucratic and overly regulatory. I think first and foremost, the slides, I think it's 6 and 7, introduce restrictions that exceed those that are outlined in the FY 26-27 proviso language. So the proviso language was clear, and that's policy. And it's pretty simple. It's to provide programmatic and facilities funding, mentions nothing about per pupil. It provides oversight by the Senior Director of S&I and the grants manager to ensure compliance. The grant recipients are required to submit a semi-annual and a final year-end expenditure report. And then something that we're going to do that's different from years past is assign staff from the S&I Education PIA and the Grants PIA to conduct quarterly in-person site visits at all 17 schools to monitor compliance, strengthen relationships with the school administration and staff. That's the proviso language. That's what you can execute. What you're proposing is not what you can execute. And I just want to explain to you the concerns I have so you can see my point of view. The first and foremost is the requirements that you're requiring in 6 and 7. What you're proposing imposes additional layers of oversight and restrictions beyond what the board approved provisos require. And while transparency and accountability are critical, I think the added measures may unintentionally create a significant administrative burden on these schools, especially the small schools. I mean, maybe Kalehua School and Navahi, where they have 500-600 students and staff, but the smaller ones, this is going to be very difficult for them to do. Specific issues I have with the proposal is the lack of clarity in the allocation. It's unclear to me how per pupil funding impacts the total allocations, which complicate financial planning and decision-making for the schools, which is why it was not in the proviso language. The facility and maintenance reimbursement model, shifting F&M to a reimbursement structure is going to hinder these schools, especially the smaller ones that lack the upfront funds to put the money upfront and ask for a reimbursement. That wasn't the intent of the proviso. And I think this approach could undermine the broader goals of increasing school autonomy and responsiveness. The quarterly disbursements, releasing funds in quarterly installments, or a 25% initial payment instead of a one-time, or at the most, a semi-annual disbursement may restrict the school's ability to plan and execute their programs effectively. When po'okumus plan, they plan ahead. And knowing that they're going to get an X amount of infusion of capital allows them to plan for their school year. Rather than 25% here, I got to front the money here, I got to apply for a reimbursement here. That's not the intent of what we're doing in this budget. The extensive reporting requirements, quarterly invoice reviews, detailed spreadsheets, semi-annual performance measures, and annual report data create a complex and a time-consuming process. These overlapping requirements risk diverting time and energy away from serving students and communities. Now, the restrictive funding limitations you have, I'm not opposed to. Prohibitions on using funds for air conditioning or student transportation, like you mentioned, vehicles or new construction. I look at the current Kalo contract, number 4422, and the specific items that we allow them to do for facilities funding, right? And everything that is in there is in your approved list. My only hesitation is that some of these things that we're prohibiting them from using might be misaligned with the realities of what some of these underfunded schools really may need. And I think such restrictions could impede their efforts to address transportation challenges, improve attendance, create a climate-appropriate learning environment. Remember when Governor Ige came into office and his goal was to put air conditioning in every single Department of Education school in this state because classrooms were hot. They might need air conditioning in their classrooms. I think the provisos we provided in the Biennium budget reflect a balanced approach. They ensure sound oversight while recognizing the unique role of each 17 Hawaiian-focused charter schools, and they're all different. I think the implementation of this, we should avoid perpetuating maybe previous administrative status quo processes that constrain growth, flexibility, and self-determination of these schools. Just in summary, our goal was to get them the money they need to empower each po'okumu to decide how they wanted to use those funds, whether it was programmatic or facilities. It was to put OHA staff on a quarterly basis, boots on the ground in the schools, remove bureaucratic requirements, semi-annual final year-end reporting, and let the po'okumus do what they do best. And so my suggestion would be, just cut them the check. Get them the funds as fast as possible, require the semi-annual and final year-end report, get our staff out there in the first quarter, let trustees know when you're going, because I'd love to go as well, especially on my island. I have 5 charter schools. And let's get them the money that they need. And let's make it as easy as possible for everyone. And I appreciate your presentation, but that's just my, frank feedback, and I hope it was helpful. I hope it didn't come off sometimes how it can come off.
Trustee, I'm sorry, real quick, just wanted to confirm. So you're talking about semi-annual disbursements as well, or
No.
just the reporting? You want all up front?
Yeah, just give them the check. Give fiscal year 26, send them the money. First quarter, we send out our staff, all 17 schools, require a semi-annual report, a year-end report. I'd also add for our trustees, contract 4422 is in effect right now. Kalo is executing that contract for a whole nother year, which is the facilities contract. Each school can get up to $150,000 this fiscal year in addition to the money that we appropriated. That's going to be a huge boost for the Hawaiian-focused charter schools. I'm surprised they're not all here today. So they're getting 2 tranches of money, 150 grand for facilities plus the amount that we budgeted for them, and let the po'okumus do what they do best. They know their schools the best, big or small. And that would be my recommendation. I think it's consistent with what was in the proviso language. I hope that helps. I think it makes it easier for all of us.
That's mahalo for that clarification. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Is there any more discussion, Trustee Kaka?
So did you folks connect with Kalo on this? Can we get some clarification in terms of Kalo's role and then how it would be the same, if not different?
Sure, trustee. So in prior contracts, Kalo administered the grant. So we would contract with Kalo. We would give them the disbursement semi-annually. They would disperse to the schools. The schools in turn would report back to Kalo on enrollment. I think it was enrollment. It was senior number of seniors in attendance, number of graduating seniors, number of community engagement events held on campuses and Ohana nights and so forth. And so Kalo would gather that information from all of the schools and then put it in one direct report back to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs.
So all that you just described that Kalo has been doing, does OHA have the capacity to take on that, Kuleana? Is this implementable?
This for 17 separate contracts, it's a big take for the staff for sure. And we were hoping to simplify the process with feedback from Chair Kahele. I think we can. But this is in addition to still monitoring that last Kalo contract, which is easier because Kalo does it. And so in terms of the facilities contract, they do receive all the receipts monthly from the schools currently. They reconcile every single month. They send those receipts and their reconciliation to OHA staff to verify, and then we reimburse. Some of the schools, the larger schools, they can spend down very quickly. The smaller schools do struggle, and so what Kalo does is work with them, strategize with them on ways to help them spend down the money. And so those are things that we anticipate our staff taking on as well for these schools.
You had mentioned earlier in your presentation about delays as we're about a week away from.
Right, with the start of
entering
the
into
school year, we just anticipate the polls being very busy with, PDs and new staff orientation and welcoming the kids back on campus. So just those sort of delays, because again, we don't want to interrupt the start of the school year.
Okay, is Kalo able to present on this today or sometime in the near future?
On the facilities?
Is that possible? Yeah, so we can get a better understanding of what that Kuleana has entailed and what we're trying to do the same and or different.
Okay, so for contract 4422, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yes.
Thank you. Anyone else in our board?
Yes, regarding your slides, allowable and disallowed costs, facilities and maintenance, I wanted more clarification. So the part where it says under unallowable costs for purchasing land or property, can you share why that is? I can guess, but can you share why?
I believe at the moment, schools are not allowed to directly purchase land.
Student transportation purchase of motorized vehicles. That seems to be, and the reason I ask is it seems to be an ongoing challenge, even just within DOE in general. I do recall on the news it was mentioned within the last couple or so days in terms of the DOE trying to figure that out, but specifically with the Hawaiian immersion and charter schools, they have that additional challenge in terms of getting proper funding. So is it specifically where you're talking about a motorized vehicle versus, say, supplementing a bus or so, or some kind of proper safe transportation?
I think if it's allowable by the board, we could discuss with them purchasing, student transportation, so a bus or a van, depending on the school and their enrollment numbers.
in my experience as an ohana, having with the immersion schools is just this very thing that I'm talking about, is not having the funding for the buses and the ohanas, the families, the schools trying to seek out community kokua. And oftentimes that is just not always successful. So what is the alternative, right? So that's why I'm asking this. The other part is the new construction or building expansion. Can you elaborate a little more on that too?
The thinking behind that was a brand new building would be a major undertaking, capital improvement project. So we weren't sure if this was a suitable grant for that. We're not opposed to it, but we would probably want to have a discussion with the school. We want to make sure if they undertake those projects that they have enough funding to complete that project as well.
Because I would imagine, as many of the DOE schools are, Kayapunis and so forth, a lot of them are in like portable
They are.
units, and they're not new, and they are vela, and there's so many things that come with age and the location of where it's at. So maybe we can relook at the language on this to see on what makes sense. And I think that's part of the evaluation process for us to understand what feedback Kalo has received through time, and then what the different poles of the hula can impart on how we can best work together.
Yep.
Thank you.
Question. So moving forward, how long will it take you to execute the 17 grants for the Hawaiian Focus Charter Schools so we can get them the FY26 money? I think first quarter.
Within the first quarter.
Okay,
yes,
great.
of the school year. Yes.
Yeah, I'm also not opposed. I mean, like Trustee Akaka said, to potential new construction or building on a case by case basis, depends, right? Like if they think they need a portable building or whatever because they have a lack of facilities, I think that's what the facilities funding would be used for. So, thank you.
You had one more thing to say.
Thanks, Chair.
Yeah, mahalo.
The other thing I wanted to ask too is there annual or quarterly survey, maybe annual survey that goes out to the kula to get a sense of what's working and what's not working for them and what their true needs are, and if we're meeting that?
We can actually implement that within this grant as well. We have not done that in the previous contracts, but we could do that. And we'll work with R&E to make sure that the survey is appropriate and we're getting the data points we need.
Thank you.
Hello, Trustee Ahuna.
Thank you so very much. And I just wanted to say thank you to our chair, Kahele's words. First of all, you guys, charter schools have been lacking monies from day one. You know, it's not fair, the equity they get, the per pupil, they've been behind the bus. And what I want to share today is that, you know, one of the big reasons why a lot of pu'okumas are afraid of receiving money is all the reporting, you know, and Kalo has done a great job to help them with the reporting. But now with this new type of way that that the trustees have provided for our charter schools, is we want more interaction with OHA going there quarterly, but we want also less reporting. See, there's a difference between a conversion charter and a public charter school. Conversion charters, the DOE, the school doesn't, you know, work out, so they have facilities. But there are some charter schools that don't even have facilities, and then there's some who have vans and some who don't have vans and everything. So what we wanted to try and do is provide them with the best type of outcomes, and that's what it had to do a lot with reporting. The one thing I can say is, you know, for us, it's hard being a charter school in today's world, and we have to keep everyone together. So it's very important that OHA stays involved with these charter schools and we work alongside with them. But we also want to help these pu'okuma with the reporting parts. You know, some have a lot of students, some have less students, and we just want to make sure that we don't scare any of them out. I did want to also say one thing, one of the questions that came up to me in an email was, hey, you guys have 17 focused charter schools. What if there's another charter that wants to get in? And, I just want maybe people to understand that, these 17 focused charter schools have been working on CRAs, which means they're called culturally relevant assessments. They all been working towards culturally relevant assessments, and it's not standardized like how we do in the DOE and everything. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys understand how they are kept together and what they're striving for, but also some of the things, the impacts that they have, because different schools have different impacts, and I don't want to put them in a bad situation because they cannot go for facilities. I mean, for transportation when they might need transportation, or we cannot build something because they don't really have facilities, and some might. So I just wanted to make sure that we allow our po'okumu to plan and do the right thing, and OHA to work on the side of them to making sure that we all working together. So thank you for that report, administration. Thank you.
Mahalo, Trustee Ahuna. Is there any other discussion amongst our trustees at this point before I call upon our testifiers? All right, thank you very much. And your excuse, I'd like to move on with our first testifier. May we have, oh, excuse me. Okay, we have Jermaine Myers. And as a reminder, this is for the last item no, none. No, this is just we have 4 more after Jermaine.
Hello, Chair Alapa, Vice Chair Waihe'e, Honorable Trustees. My name is Jermaine Myers. I'm an OHA beneficiary for Beneficiary Advocacy and Empowerment, and I'm also a Nanakuli Hawaiian Homestead lessee. Mahalo for this opportunity regarding the charter schools. It would have, school is coming up. It's going to start. So it's interesting that the proviso of the budget was just done on June 30th. And here we are on the 23rd and expecting for things to roll out regarding a new proviso instead of giving a heads up to Kalo, giving a heads up to the teachers, to the schools, to the principals, so that they can understand while they're taking in admissions, they're taking in teachers' issues, taking in Keiki's issues. Our school in Nanakuli is huge, and the one in Waianae is huge. They don't have just 25 students or 45 students. They have over 600 students. And so managing, all that comes with managing it, opening up the school and everything, it just behooves me and saddens me that OHA would come up with a proviso during the budget process instead of having the conversations in BAE or in the BOT prior to whatever committee that would have come under. I don't know. But the proposal to have a robust conversation. Also, was a survey done? I mean, it is on Hawaii Island that Kalo exists. Was there a survey done by all the schools to say if they nuha, somebody nuha, is it a political thing? They upset with Kalo? What was the issue with Kalo? Also, in the compliance sector, are they going to be in compliance with the Hawaii Charter School commission requirements and all the state laws, et cetera, regarding charter school and management of charter school that maybe Kalo had provided that OHA employees don't know about? And so is OHA now going to call Kalo on a consultation basis to get answers that they had just automatically understood over the years of administering the Hawaii Focus Charter School issuance of the grant? So I'm just wondering why Kalo was diminished as far as their relationship with OHA. Why was there a relationship diminished with the schools? I mean, I can understand if OHA had done and then it came to the board table, Kalo's been doing this or doing that, or they're out of compliance. They're putting us at risk with the Hawaii State charter school commission or all those things, but nothing was actually explained. So I can understand how administration would have to, they listening to a proviso at a budget at the table on June 30th by some trustees, and then now they have to execute it. And the trustee who put in the proviso didn't work with administration to say, these are my expectations, these are not, or this is what I meant by the language. And now we got administration showing up with a presentation and then basically told, you don't even understand what I meant. It's kind of embarrassing to sit back there and hear that, oh, administration didn't understand the proviso. I mean, you guys are all in the same building. And we have devices, you can call, telephone, you can email, you can text. So I don't understand the lack of communication by the person that put the proviso in regarding the charter school in the budget, not to explain it to administration staff so that they can come here with a presentation and not get told that the presentation was inadequate and misunderstood. You know, like, for example, my schools, we're in the hot district of Oahu. So yes, we would need air condition. We also have, you know, we don't have public school transportation, school buses. So sometimes the kids would need, because we're in a community that the cost of living, et cetera, et cetera. So there's just a lot of like, what I'm understanding with this fiscal year 26-27 biennium budget, just a lot of like changes last minute, and then everybody got to run around try to figure out why the changes were made instead of leading up to it. So it kind of was like an ambush situation in my perspective over and over, that how can anybody execute it? It turns into a toxic work environment that is contradictory to OHA being a place that people would want to work, because just look at what happened. Kia kuapu, God bless all of you.
Mahalo, Jermaine. At this time, I'd like to call upon, well, we have 4 other testifiers, all from the same organization. Will you be going independently, each one of you, or did you want to come together? Melissa? Sorry. Okay, sorry, that was, sorry. Okay, it was, any community concerns at this time? I think, no, we didn't have that. It's not on the agenda. So thank you, everyone. Yes. Go ahead. Okay, so we make a motion to adjourn, and can we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Ahuna.
Aye.
Trustee Akaka.
Aye. Oh.
You're not required to, and it's not.
Let's
Let's
vote.
talk about it.
We're gonna vote.
Yeah,
We're gonna vote right now.
Trustee Akaka. Trustee Akina.
Aye.
Trustee Galataria.
Aye.
Trustee Kahele.
Aye.
Trustee Lindsay. Trustee Souza's left. Vice Chair Waihe'e.
Yes.
Chair Lapa.
Yes.
8 yes votes. We are adjourned.
Mahalo, everyone. That was a doozy. All right. We haven't, yeah. So because we are running it obviously behind, so give us a few minutes so that we can change up the room so that our chair for the ILM committee and his staff can sit up, and then we'll get started. So we're going to probably need about